Yay! We are live. Let me see who we have here. Go back up. Hi, Renee. Hi, Jane Doe. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Carly. Hi, Amba. Amba, it's what? Early morning there. Hi, Anil's next. Hi, Wendy Whitebread. Mike. Angel. Kathy Lee. Erica. Christine. Ooh, I just turned that down. What did I do? Okay, sorry. Christy. Yay. We were backstage and we were doing the whole, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We were having some technical difficulties, but we're here. Yay. Happy Sunday. We're up to 20 people. Hoping to see more now that we've adjusted our date and time to hopefully fit more people. We've got a big show, and when I say big, got some notes. This is one PDF, and I printed it this time, and I numbered the pages, so I knew that they'd be in order. And I have another PDF. This one is spicy. Can you guys see? I'll give you a little sneak peek. Hi, in my opinion. How was yours this weekend?
Sorry.
Ooh, we're going.
No, I didn't want that to go yet. I don't know why I did that.
Are you guys ready to jump in? I am. I'm ready. So you can see we're going over the 911 call. And before we get started in that, I already said this in the group, but I want to make sure that I say it again. This is all Susan's work. She has been working on this for a long time, and this is all hers. I'm just presenting it. So thank you, Susan.
Are you going to tell Chris's story?
Oh, yes. I forgot again. Okay, so last week we forgot to tell a story about Christian. This week we're not going to forget. This is from, since it in our, yeah, okay. This is from his uncle Chris. Got a little story. And so he says, I remember one from when he was little. He and my son Tyler were 2 months apart, so they were together a lot when they were little. I had Tyler for the weekend, and he wanted me to take them to a movie. They were probably around 7 or 8, I guess. Well, I asked a girl that I had been out with a few times to go with us. Christian was a handful when he was little, and him and Tyler together was even worse. So I told both of them not to do anything stupid and don't say a word to embarrass me, or it wasn't going to end well for them. I should have just kept my mouth shut because that didn't do anything but give Christian a challenge. We picked up the girl and was headed to the movie theater, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and Christian's face was blood red, and he was making a weird face, and then he let out the biggest, loudest fart a kid that size could make, and him and Tyler started laughing and wouldn't stop. Girl's face got blood red, and she was trying not to laugh. It's no telling what I looked like, and it stunk like hell in that truck. When we got to the parking lot, jumped out and grabbed his butt and jerked him out of the car and said, he said, I didn't say a word, I farted. I said, hell, I know, and I told you not to embarrass me in front of her. I should beat your ass. He quickly said, see, I'd stay away from my ass right now. My farts are like a skunk. If they get on you, it ain't coming off for a while. He says that boy was hell when he was well, and he was hardly ever sick. Oh, I should have read that 15 times over before reading it out loud because I couldn't stop laughing when I was reading it earlier. Oh. Okay, so we have the 911 call.
Want me to go ahead and play it?
And we're going to play that first, and then we're going to dig into it. So let's go ahead and listen to it.
Christian.
911, where's your emergency?
Man, we've had a suicide. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's your address?
The Woodland Apartment.
Woodland Apartments? What apartment number?
801.
Apartment 801?
Yes, ma'am. You'll see a BMW
Okay.
C71.
All right, who is it, sir?
Christian Andreacchio.
Christian Andreacchio?
Yeah.
Okay, and you said he committed suicide?
Yes, ma'am. He's laying across the bathroom tub, and he's got blood everywhere.
Okay, and you said there's blood everywhere and he's across the bathroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and he's not breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What's your name?
Yes. Dylan Swearingen.
Swearingen, what was your first name?
Dylan.
Dylan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Dylan, stay on the phone with me, okay?
Okay.
Is your phone number 616-5650?
Ma'am.
Is your phone number 616-5650?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Please get somebody up there.
I got several officers on the way. Okay, just stay on the phone with me.
I really need to call somebody in the family.
Okay, come on. You don't know how, there's no weapons or anything?
I think he shot himself.
Okay, you think he shot himself?
Yes, ma'am. I left to go to the store, and he went to the...
Uh-oh. Hold, please. Susan, can you not hear me again? Uh-oh, I think she froze. Oh, she's back. Technology sometimes. She frozen again? I just saw her move. She might not be able to hear me. She's having to switch computers, so we can just chat for a little bit. Sorry about this, guys. Oh, good. Me really big. So, Susan's a free tech channel. Good thing she works with computers for a living, so she has more than one. I wonder if, Renee, can you drop that link to that cop scale in the chat? Pretty, please. I would, but I don't have the ability to. Or maybe I could do it from my phone. Oh, thank you. Keep checking to make sure she's not texting me. We'll get it going again. Just a few minutes. Sorry. Renee's gonna drop the link to this. It's called the cop scale. The considering Carpenter probability and statements scale that she used to work through the 911 call. I'm freezing. Somebody's FaceTime. Am I freezing? I don't see it. I'm lagging. It might be because she's not here. My Wi-Fi's full. Sorry, guys. We're working on it. I'll pull my YouTube off there. Just got asked to share this. Sorry. Okay. Yikes. It is a Sunday, I guess. Am I still laggy? I turned off my YouTube, so hopefully that would help.
Can you hear me?
She's coming back.
Can you hear me?
Maybe. There she is.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's storming out here, so I don't know if it was my computer or the weather, but now I've got to email everything over so I can pop it up on this computer.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to.
Do you want to play the 911 call while you're doing that, or do you have to email
I have
that
to
over?
email that over.
Okay. We can just wait a little bit.
It's going to take a while, so if you want to talk about something.
Yeah, I'm trying to just talk with everybody. So who's in the group? Put a 2 in the chat if you're in our Facebook group. Oh, did we lose people? Oh, there we go. It's weird on my okay, so did you guys see what we posted this week? Jennifer, stop trolling. Did you see I'm just so excited to talk about that. I don't want to spill, I don't want to go there yet, but very interesting indeed. If you're not in our group, do you need a link? Yeah, that's that's something we're going over tonight. I hope she's watching, honestly. Did you, was it? Yes, it is about the calls. It is about the calls. we figured we better go back over it because we've always said the third caller was just the third caller. We weren't going to name anybody. And somebody went and ruined that for them. So now we get to talk about it. She's probably still in timeout. She was still commenting last night, so Susan had to go back in and add some more to the PDF, the second PDF, because she was still digging her hole deeper and deeper. The newest stuff that she's been talking about is that when you shoot yourself or when you're shot, you freeze. So we'll go over that. So that's why Christian's hands were the way he was, because he shot himself and then his hand froze. His arm didn't freeze. His body didn't freeze. You're not late, Julie. We've had technical difficulties, so we're actually starting now. So you are on time. Which part, Scrambled Mind? The call? Yeah, I would like to know how they're going to spin that for sure, or if they're just going to ignore it. I don't know how they can. I mean, clearly screenshots were taken and given to attorneys, and you can't get out of that one. And the thing is, those call records, Matt's call records, were handed out by Whitley's uncle. So she got them the same way, obviously, or from somebody close to him. So you can't really undig that or fill that hole back in. You can't. She's going to have a lot to explain. They'll just say that she's dumb and shouldn't have spoke, but she wouldn't have known about that third caller, right? We never said who it was.
Nope,
You guys didn't have access to those call logs. We didn't give them out. So somebody told her. The phone malfunctioned and the time is wrong, right? Right, but it didn't malfunction the other way. Okay, we'll work on that in a second, Renee. Thank you for trying. She can't post the link to the cop scale.
Why?
I don't know. Do we have it turned off so that links can't be posted? We need,
No.
maybe a mod can do it. A mod will have to do it, probably.
No, I turned that link thing off, so it should work. Come on.
Yeah. How are they gonna well, she tried. We'll go over it, but she tried to say that I didn't say that, or I don't remember how she worded it, but something about that's not what I meant. Well, it's what you said, so it's too late now. Thank you, Jane Doe. Yes, that is the right link. Yep, that's it. Thank you, Angel's next. So you guys got it twice. If you guys want to follow along as we're listening to the call and then as we're going through the PDF that we've prepared or that Susan prepared, it'll probably make more sense if you have that at your fingertips. If you might not be able to pull both up at once, but just thought you guys might want it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm almost done.
Okay. And I told Susan to interrupt me at any point, so that way, if I mess up, she can help me. Like I said, this is her baby, so.
Jesus.
Christian.
911, where's your emergency?
Man, we've had a suicide.
You had a suicide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's your address?
The Woodland Apartments.
Woodland Apartments? What apartment number?
801.
Apartment 801?
Yes, ma'am. You'll see a BMW and a
Okay.
C71.
All right, who is it, sir?
Christian Andreacchio.
Christian Andreacchio?
Yeah.
Okay, and you said he committed suicide?
Yes, ma'am. He's laid across the bathroom tub, and he's got blood everywhere.
Okay, and you said there's blood everywhere and he's across the bathroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he's not breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What's your name?
Yes. Dylan Swearingen.
Swearingen, what was your first name?
Dylan.
Dylan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Dylan, stay on the phone with me, okay?
Okay.
Is your phone number 616-5650?
Ma'am.
Is your phone number 616-5650?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Please get somebody up there.
I got several officers on the way. Okay, just stay on the phone with me.
I really need to call somebody in the family.
Okay, hold on. You don't know how there's no weapons or anything?
I think he shot himself.
Okay, you think he shot himself?
Yes, ma'am. I left to go to the store, and he went to the bathroom. I thought he was taking a shower.
Okay, did he say that he was going to do this, or?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, who's that in the background?
That's his girlfriend.
His girlfriend's there too?
Yes, ma'am.
What's her name?
Whitley Goodman.
Whitney Goodman?
Whitley. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, she's not, okay, just try not to touch anything, okay?
Whitley.
Is she with him?
Come down here. They don't want you to touch anything. Come on.
Just try to, if it,
Come here, Whitley. Come here. Come here.
okay,
Come here.
what's Whitley's last
Come
name?
here. Ma'am.
What's Whitley's last name?
His last name?
Her last name.
Goodman. Goodman.
Okay. I do got several officers on the way, and we do have the ambulance on the way too, okay?
Whitley, come here. Come here, Whitley. Ma'am, I really need to call a family member. Is that okay?
Okay, hold on.
Can I put you on hold?
Okay, just hold on 1 second, okay?
Come here, Whitley. What? I know you can't calm down, but please. Please.
Ready to come away and my family.
We're going to.
Okay, Dylan?
Ma'am.
Okay, so we do have everyone on the way, so if you need to let me go, you can, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I really need to call
Okay.
some family members.
Just make sure that you're looking out for the officers, okay?
Okay.
They'll be there any minute.
Tell them I have the door open.
Door is open.
Yes, ma'am. And you'll see a silver BMW in the driveway.
Okay, we have a couple officers that should be there in a minute, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Well, oops, sorry. We know that there was a second call because they had to call back because he gave the wrong address. we just thought the first call was the most important one. Before I start going into the PDF, I wanted to give a little bit of background into the person that wrote the book and developed the COP scale. His name's Tracy Harpster, and he's a 30-year veteran of Moraine, Ohio PD. He's a graduate of the FBI National Academy. He has a Master's of Science in Criminal Justice from the University of Cincinnati and a Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice from Bowling Green State University in 2004. Or he's a 2004 graduate of the FBI National Academy in Quantico. He's nationally renowned authority and has published extensively on the analysis of 911 calls. He's accepted member of the Vidocq Society, which is a crime solving society for high-ranking officials. He's a 2006 graduate. He has a graduate's degree from 2006 from the University of Cincinnati. His master's thesis examined the indicators of innocence and guilt of 911 homicide callers, and he's analyzed over 1,500 911 homicide calls and assisted on over 750 cases to help solve murders. So I'm pretty sure he's qualified. And as far as Christian's case, he didn't call Christian's family. No, he didn't call Christian's family. Okay, so getting into the first PDF.
Hold on, I'm trying to get it up. Hate having to switch computers.
Dog was in the living room playing with her toy and barking at herself.
I guess go ahead and start going through it. It's going to take me a minute to get this up.
Okay. So the COP scale is just it's kind of like a workbook, a handbook on analyzing 911 calls. And we linked it on our website. So first we start out with guilt or innocent callers cannot be determined off just one indicator. The investigators can follow a format and make a determination based on how many innocent or guilty factors apply. This is just a tool, piece of the puzzle used in murder investigations. I guess I need to throw in our disclaimer. All people that are referred to are innocent until proven guilty. Please do not go and attack these people. Don't go real life. We are just giving our opinions and following along with this COPSCO. Innocent or guilty indicators. Who is the call about is the first bullet point, and it says, does the caller demand help? Investigators can gain insight of the guilt or innocence of a caller based on if a plea for help is done at the most logical, earliest opportunity. When the operator opens the call with 911, what's your emergency? It is logical for the caller to make their plea for help at this time. When the operator opens with 911, where is your emergency? It is logical for the caller to give your location first and then a plea for help. Dylan's call. Operator, 911, where is your emergency? Dylan, ma'am, we got a suicide. So I'm going to stop there. If the 911 operator starts with what is your emergency, it is logical for the caller to make their plea for help at this time. If the operator opens with where is your emergency, it's logical for the caller to give location first and then a plea for help. And as you heard, Dylan, the operator says, where is your emergency? Dylan says, ma'am, we got a suicide. Right there. Go back up one. Up. Next. Page 2. Yeah. Page 2. Up. There, right there. And scroll down just a little bit. I'm at the bottom of it. Yep, right there. Okay. Dylan does not give the address or make a plea for help. Dylan actually waits until 1 minute, 19 seconds into the call before saying, please, somebody get up here. So he waits a whole minute and 19 seconds before he even makes a plea for somebody to come up and help Christian. Examples of innocent and guilty callers. Note these examples I'm using come straight from a 911 study. These are cases of true innocent and true guilty callers and what they said on their 911 calls. Operator 911, what's your emergency? Innocent caller. My baby's not breathing. I need an ambulance at 1234 Main Street. Operator 911, what is your emergency? Guilty caller. I have an infant. He's not breathing. Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. This should fall under the guilt indicator as Dylan didn't answer the operator's question. Instead, he opens the call with a suicide narrative and waits until 1 minute, 19 seconds before his plea for help. 40% of the calls in the 911 study included an immediate plea for help for the victim. 3/4 of these callers, 79%, were innocent callers, with just 21% of the guilty callers made an immediate plea. An expert callers who committed homicides and then staged the scenes called 911 to report the deaths, display the scenes, and have the bodies removed. In these situations, there was no emergency and no need to demand immediate help. Unlike the situations with innocent callers, in fact, the victims of guilty callers may have been dead for hours while the offenders changed clothes and arranged the setting. 2. Does the caller assess the victim? All 911 callers make at least a cursory assessment of victims in order to know whether a 911 call is necessary. Most innocent callers in the 911 study made the initial evaluation, called 911, and then provided an immediate assessment of the victim's condition. This approach provides dispatchers with information needed to determine the best way to aid the victim. Dylan didn't check for a pulse even. Guilty callers, however, were less likely to volunteer an immediate assessment of the victim's condition, thus limiting the dispatcher's ability to provide help. Generally, innocent 911 callers continued to assess the victim's condition throughout the call, and they anxiously updated this dispatcher with any changes, both positive and negative. Dylan did not go inside the bathroom. We know this from his written statement. However, during the 911 call, he only, when prompted, gave an assessment of Christian. How would Dylan know any of this if he didn't enter the bathroom? The only reasonable conclusion is he knew exactly what happened without entering the bathroom. Dylan's assessment after being prompted by the operator. Operator, okay, and you said he committed suicide? Dylan, yes, ma'am. He's laying across the bathtub and he got blood everywhere. Operator, okay, you said there's blood everywhere across the bathroom? Dylan, yes, ma'am. Dylan was breathing heavy at this point. Operator, okay, and he's not breathing? And in the background, Whitley starts in again. Dylan, no ma'am, breathing heavy. That was Dylan breathing heavy, sorry. Examples of innocent and guilty callers. Note these examples I am using come straight from 911 study. Dispatcher 911, what is your emergency? Innocent caller. We need you to send someone down to the Sutton Apartments. We have a resident who's lying on the floor and he feels cold to the touch. Dispatcher, what apartment is he in? Innocent caller, 18. Dispatcher, did you say you touched him to see if he had a pulse or was warm or cold? Innocent caller, well, I touched his face is ice cold. Dispatcher, 911, what is your emergency? Guilty caller, please send somebody. Dispatcher, what's the problem, ma'am? Guilty caller, my baby. Dispatcher, give me your address. Guilty caller, oh my God. Dispatcher, give me your address. Guilty caller, 556 Globe Drive. Dispatcher, okay, tell me what's wrong with the baby. Guilty caller, oh my God, oh my God. Dispatcher, ma'am, is your baby okay? Guilty caller, no. Dispatcher, ma'am, is the baby breathing? Guilty caller, no. Dispatcher, is there a pulse? Guilty caller, no, she's stiff. Didn't even say what was wrong with the baby for a good 15 or 8 sentences. Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. Similar to the above guilty caller, Dylan didn't offer up an assessment of Christian until prompted by the operator. This falls under the guilty indicator. Who is the caller's focus? The purpose of calling 911 during a critical event is to get medical help to victims as quickly as possible. Therefore, most innocent callers in the 911 study focused on the victims throughout the 911 calls. Demanding help for them, offering relevant details to the dispatchers, and aiding the victims with CPR and other medical assistance, the guilty callers were often more focused on their own problems than on the victims' conditions. The focus on victim indicator was present in 45% of the calls in the 911 study, 8 times as many innocent callers focused on the victims, 89%. Then did guilty callers, 11%. This was one of the strongest indicators of innocence in the 911 study. 13% of the calls in the 911 study revealed a focus on caller indicator. It is noteworthy that no innocent callers used this indicator. Dylan talked about calling family, not Christians, his own and Whitley's, 4 times during the 911 call. Dylan, please get somebody up here. Operator, all right, I have several officers on the way. Okay, just stay on the phone with me. Dylan, I really need to call somebody in the family. Operator, okay, hold on. Operator, okay, we do have several officers on the way, and we do have the ambulance on the way too, okay? At this point, you can hear Whitley say, "It's not my fault." Dylan, Whitley, come here. Come here, Whitley. Ma'am, I really need to call a family member. Is that okay? Operator, okay, hold. Dylan, can I put you on hold? Operator, okay, hold on 1 second, okay? Whitley, really? Inaudible, my family. Dylan, we're going to... Operator, okay, Dylan. Dylan, ma'am? Operator, okay, so do we have everyone? We do have everyone on the way, so if you need to let me go, you can, okay? Dylan, yes, ma'am, I really need to call some family members. Operator, okay, just make sure you're looking out for the officers, okay? Gotta take a drink, sorry, it's a lot of reading. Again, we just keep reiterating that these are examples. These are not, innocent until proven guilty. I'll just keep saying it over and over. Dispatcher, 911, state your emergency. Innocent caller, I'm in Sandy Marco's apartment in Glendale. I need 911 down here right away. She's in a chair, blood running out of her mouth, and it don't look like she's breathing, so I need somebody here. Hurry, please. Guilty caller, y'all better hurry up. My youngs are in there. Dispatcher, your kids are in there? I understand that. Guilty caller, I lost my cell phone. I can't find my house phone. I burned my foot trying to get my kids. Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. Similar to the above guilty caller, Dylan was focused on getting off the phone and calling his family Whitley's family. You can also hear a phone ringing in the background, suggesting a family member was likely already aware of the situation. This falls under the guilty indicator. Number 4. Does the caller accept the victim's death? Innocent 911 callers cling to hope that they can keep their loved one alive while the medics are en route. Hope that the medics will get there in time to save their loved ones, and in many cases, hope for a miracle. Some guilty callers, particularly in premeditated murder cases, reveal their acceptance of death of the victim because the death comes as no surprise. Innocent callers instinctively refuse to accept the deaths, particularly the deaths of relatives or friends. Even when it was obvious that the victims had been deceased for some time, some innocent callers were unable to verbalize the word dead. Callers who readily accepted the death of victims were often directly guilty of complicit in the offense. The acceptance of death indicator was present when callers asserted that the victims were dead when the actual condition, i.e. living or dead, would not necessarily be known by the callers. Therefore, if 911 callers do not know the actual physiological condition of the victims, they should not declare the victim's demise to the dispatcher. Many guilty callers immediately accepted the victim's death, even if the victims were friends or family members. Dylan clearly accepted Christian's death. We know this because he opened the call with, "We have a suicide." He never entered the bathroom. He knew it was a gunshot, and when asked if Christian was breathing, he said no, even though he never entered the bathroom by his own admission. Operator, 911, where is your emergency? Dylan, ma'am, we got a suicide. Operator, you have a suicide? Dylan, yes, ma'am. Operator, okay, and you say he committed suicide? Yes, ma'am. He's laying across the bathroom tub and he has got blood everywhere. Operator, okay, and you said there's blood everywhere across the bathroom? Dylan, yes, ma'am. Okay, and he's not breathing? Whitley screaming in the background. Dylan, no, ma'am, as he's breathing heavily. Dylan, Operator, you don't know how? There's no weapon or anything? Dylan, I think he shot himself. Operator, so you think he shot himself? Dylan, yes, ma'am. I left to go to the store and he went to the bathroom. I thought he was taking a shower. Wait, what? I just thought of something. I'll have to come back to that one and we'll leave that page out. Operator, okay. Did he say that he was going to do this or Dylan? No, ma'am. Note the book did not give any examples of innocent callers for this indicator, just guilty callers. So dispatcher 911, what is your emergency? Guilty caller, I just got home from work and my wife is laying in bed dead. Dispatcher 911, what is your emergency? Guilty caller, my dad got killed. Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. Dylan was clear that he accepted Christian's death. This falls under the guilty indicator. Number 5, does the caller provide aid to the victim as directed? This one we will skip as there was no request by the dispatcher to give aid. Wish she would have.
Yep.
Innocent or guilty indicators for what is the call about? Is the information relevant? The callers who contacted 911 in an effort to save a life were under great stress. Some of them cried or wailed during the calls. Yet, even in their highly emotional state, most innocent callers realized the need to provide enough relevant information to dispatchers to enable them to direct medics to the correct location. Innocent callers give the who, what, where, when, regardless of their emotional state. In the 911 study, 22% of all calls contained extraneous information. Most of these calls, 93%, were made by guilty callers. Only 7% were from innocent callers. This was one of the strongest indicators of guilt in the 911 study, as more than 13 times as many guilty callers used extraneous information as did innocent callers. 13 times. Yikes. There are 2 major reasons why guilty callers provided extraneous information. One reason was to deflect blame away from the callers to other persons or events. A second reason guilty callers included extraneous information was because they had an overwhelming need to express it. It was an information so vital to them that they could not omit it. Dylan gave the wrong address and needed to be prompted instead of being clear with the who, what, where, and when. He gave details that were not relevant to questions being asked. Operator, okay, what's your address? Dylan, the Woodland Apartments. Operator, the Woodland Apartments, what apartment number? 801. Operator, all right, 801. Dylan, yes, ma'am. You'll see a BMW and a Z71. She didn't ask that. Operator, okay, and you said he committed suicide? Dylan, yes, ma'am. He's laying across the bathroom tub and he got blood everywhere. Operator, okay, you said there's blood everywhere across the bathroom? Dylan, yes, ma'am. Operator, you don't know how? There's no weapon or anything? Dylan, I think he shot himself. Operator, so you think he shot himself? Dylan, yes, ma'am. I left to go to the store and he went to the bathroom. I thought he was taking a shower. Direct contradiction to his statement. That last sentence. Again, examples. Dispatcher 911, what is your emergency? Innocent caller. Crying. Send the ambulance to the apartment 19 Seneca. My daughter's hurt. She's not breathing. She's bleeding. Dispatcher, where is she bleeding at? Innocent caller, sobbing. All over. Hurry, hurry. Dispatcher, does she have a pulse? Innocent caller, no. Sobbing. My husband is doing CPR. Please hurry. Dispatcher, how old is your son? Guilty caller. He's only 6. He's like eating an apple and he's burping it up. He's not. It's like a seizure type. We got in a car wreck about 2 months ago. What?
Yep.
Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. Dylan gives the wrong address and gives additional information that isn't relevant. This falls under the guilty indicator. 2. How does the caller describe the situation? Innocent 911 callers seeking medical help communicated sensory details about the victim's conditions to ensure that appropriate aid would be dispatched. Sight, sound, smell, and touch. In contrast, many guilty callers equivocated instead of providing details. I promise I'm not stupid. I can read that word. They offered vague comments that confused dispatchers and delayed proper medical response. I gotta take a drink. Sorry, I'm getting vocal fry. In the 911 study, 27% of callers contained sensory details, almost 5 times as many as innocent callers. 83% included sensory details than guilty callers. 17%. Operator. Okay, and you said he committed suicide? Dylan. Yes, ma'am. He's laying across the bathroom tub and he got blood everywhere. Operator. Okay, you said there's blood everywhere across the bathroom? Dylan. Yes, ma'am. Operator. You don't know how? There's no weapons or anything? Dylan. I think he shot himself. Operator. So you think he shot himself? Dispatcher. 911. What is your emergency? Innocent caller. I need help. My brother's overdosing right now. Please get here. I'm at 4770 Roundhouse Court. He's gurgling and he's blue. He's not breathing. He's still got the needle in his hand. Please hurry. Dispatcher, 911, what is your emergency? Guilty caller. My mom is dead on the kitchen floor. Dispatcher, you said your mom passed away? Guilty caller, yes. Dispatcher, okay, let me get help started. I need to ask you a few questions. What do you think happened to her? Guilty caller, I don't know. I think I last talked to her on Thursday. Dispatcher, so do you think she's been there since Thursday? Guilty caller, I don't know. Dispatcher, okay, tell me exactly what's going on. Guilty caller, she's just laying flat on her back on the kitchen floor and there's blood everywhere. Dun, dun, dun. Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. Dylan offers no sensory details. For example, without going in the bathroom or seeing the gun, he said he thinks he shot himself. He didn't mention the smell of gunpowder. This should fall under the guilty indicator with the absence of sensory details. He didn't even see a gunshot. That's sight.
That's true.
3. How does the caller prioritize the information? In life and death situations, innocent 911 callers typically prioritize the order of their information by its importance to the victims. The most prioritized details were as follows. Who was the victim? What happened to the victim? And where the victim was located. Some guilty callers, however, had different priorities. They furnished information in an inappropriate order by prioritizing their needs above the victim's needs. Rarely did innocent callers offer irrelevant information or focus on their own problems. In the 911 study, 24% of the callers used inappropriate order. 87% of these callers were guilty and 13% were innocent. Operator, 911, what is your emergency? Dylan, ma'am, we got a suicide. Operator, you have a suicide? Dylan, yes, ma'am. Examples of innocent guilty callers. Dispatcher 911, what is your emergency? Innocent caller, get an ambulance on 40 to 43 Arlo Street. My baby's choking. She ain't breathing. Hurry, hurry, come on. Dispatcher, what happened? Innocent caller, she's choking. The bread's laying out. She must have ate it and she's choking. Come on. The dispatcher asked what happened with the choking victim. What happened? She's choking. Dispatcher 911, what is your emergency? Guilty caller, somebody came in. They broke in. Dispatcher, ma'am? Guilty caller, they just stabbed me and my children. Okay, Diane Downs. Dispatcher, what? Guilty caller, they just stabbed me and my kids, my little boys. Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. Dylan made it a priority to let the dispatcher know there was a suicide. The most important thing for Dylan was to make sure it was clear that he came upon a suicide. This should fall under the guilty indicator. Number 4, how does the caller describe the conditions? Innocent callers focused on the victim's survival, spontaneously described the condition of victims, such as their breathing, pulse, and bleeding. This differs from describing the condition of the scene, such as soiled carpets and stained furniture. Instead of addressing the victim's injuries, some guilty callers describe the blood on the floor or the couch. 10% of the callers in the 911 study remarked on the blood and brains at the scene. Over 5 times as many guilty callers, 84%, mentioned blood and brains as did innocent callers. Dylan: yes, ma'am. He's laying across the bathroom tub and he got blood everywhere. Operator: okay, you said there's blood everywhere across the bathroom? All these guilty indicators. Okay. Examples of innocent and guilty callers. Dispatcher: sir, help is already on the way. Innocent caller: hurry because he's bleeding from the side of his head. Dispatcher: okay, do you want to start CPR? Guilty caller: he's got blood all over the rug. Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. Dylan didn't describe anything in regards to Christian, his body, his injuries. He focused on blood everywhere. This should fall under the guilty indicator. How is the call made? Does the caller express urgency or no urgency? Like football players in competition, many callers lined up on their side of the field in either offensive or defensive roles. The offensive players took the initiative and charged forward, while the defensive players waited to react. Offensive innocent callers in the 911 study yelled at dispatcher to speed up the emergency response, revealing a sense of urgency. Guilty callers often expressed no urgency. 39% of the calls in the 911 study contained urgency. Of these calls, 79% were made by innocent callers and only 21% by guilty callers. Some guilty callers failed to seek immediate aid for victims because they had no intention of saving the victims. These callers might have committed the murder well before placing the 911 call, and therefore knew that the victims were already deceased. The offenders might also need time to plan on how to best stage the scene to mislead authorities. The only urgency Dylan had during the 911 call was to get off the phone and call his and Whitley's family members. Dispatcher: 911, what is your emergency? Innocent caller: I need an ambulance right here and right now. Dispatcher: 911, what is your emergency? Guilty caller: it's not really an emergency, but my husband committed suicide. Is this for real?
Yes, these are all for real.
Dispatcher: just now. Guilty caller: yeah, well, last night. Oh,
Yep.
I'm sorry. What, ma'am? Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. Dylan had zero urgency as it took over 1 minute and 19 seconds for him to ask for them to send someone. He only asked this one time in the call. He did, however, express urgency to get off the phone and call his and Whitley's family members multiple times. This falls under the guilty indicator. I know. What? What? Okay, number 2. Is the caller fearful? Guilty callers had no fear of assailants in the vicinity. They knew that no one but themselves and possible accomplices murdered the victims. No danger was lurking nearby. The no fear indicator was present in 13% of the calls in the 911 study. Almost all of the callers who expressed no fear were guilty, 92%. Only 8% of the innocent callers expressed no fear. Dylan expressed no fear because he immediately stated it was a suicide. Dylan was gone, so how would he assume this? The claim was Christian was trying to lure Matt over just 1 hour earlier. If Dylan was gone, how did Christian know that? Just maybe Matt let me back up. How did Dylan not know that just maybe Matt showed up and killed Christian instead of Christian killing Matt? He claimed in his statement that Whitley and Christian fought earlier and he took the gun away. Dylan was gone. How did he not know that maybe they fought again and Whitley killed him? Note on this next one's that no example of a guilty caller was given. Dispatcher: we have help on the way. What color is the trailer? Innocent caller: it's white. Hurry up, please. He could still be in the trailer court. Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. Dylan expressed no fear whatsoever. This falls under the guilty indicator. 3. Is the caller in close proximity to the victim? The physical distance between the callers and the victims during the 911 calls can provide insight to their relationship. Most callers use cell phones and are not restricted to their movement, therefore they can remain in close proximity to the victims while talking with dispatchers. Many offenders in the 911 study, however, moved away from the victims and called 911 when they were out of sight of the bodies. We don't even have to go there, we already know. We know Dylan was downstairs walking around, even outside at times. We know this because he at one point said, "Whitley, come down here." Dispatcher, 911, what's your emergency? Innocent caller, get an ambulance here now. My baby's choking, 18 First Street. Dispatcher, where's your child at, ma'am? Innocent caller, get an ambulance here now. My baby is choking, 18 First Street, right here in my arms. She's not breathing. Dispatcher, what's your address, sir? Guilty caller, 1271 Park Street. Dispatcher, do you know what's wrong with him, sir? Guilty caller, no, I don't know what happened. Dispatcher, does he have a pulse? Guilty caller, I don't know. He's in the nursery. Guilt or innocent indicator for Dylan's 911 call. This should fall under the guilty indicator, as we know Dylan was nowhere near the bathroom, let alone upstairs, during the 911 call. Number 4. Does the caller begin with initial sounds or initial delays? Some innocent callers were so intent on getting immediate help that they uttered initial sounds or comments before the dispatcher completed their opening question. Most guilty callers in the 911 study, however, remained silent while waiting for the dispatchers. Other guilty callers responded to the dispatcher's first question with an initial delay. We know Dylan says Christian before the operator picks up. However, he has a slight pause after the operator asks her question. This is a tough one to say either way on the guilty or innocent indicator. For time's sake, we will end here. Here, the rest of the indicators are minimal and just additional things for investigators to look for. You can see them at the bottom of the cop scale PDF. And we've linked it on our website, sleuthandsyndicate.com, and the scale is there. Ooh, that was a lot to read. Oh, I want to go back to this really quick, and then we can discuss. Operator, you don't know how. There's no weapons or anything. Dylan, I think he shot himself. Operator, so you think he shot himself? Dylan, yes, ma'am. I left to go to the store, and he went to the bathroom. I thought he was taking a shower. Anybody remember Dylan's statement?
Yeah, he left, and Christian was on the couch.
Yep. Direct contradiction. And he came back and had to look for Christian. So how could he think that he was in the bathroom?
Yep.
He had to find him. Who's ready to discuss that? It was a lot. It was a lot. Susan, do you want to give your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, that was my thoughts on it. That whole thing. There were some things I left out, like I forget which one it was, but there was like so much wrong with his call that I didn't want to overload with examples.
Yeah. Just reading it, I was just like, oh, well, there's another one. Oh, there's another indicator. Oh, well, there's another one.
Yeah.
And how did you not call until the next day?
I know. I was dying when I was reading those examples.
I'm trying to watch the chat so I can see what you guys are all saying. I'll scroll back up a little bit. Does anybody want to jump up now when we can talk about this 911 call before we get into the other stuff that we have to go over? Yeah, I mean, it's always been like a huge indicator that he started his phone call with, "We have a suicide." He didn't know that. He didn't know that. In his statement, he says that Christian wasn't suicidal. And if we believe that he took the gun away and hid it, then his answer at that point to the 911 caller and his statement would have been, yes, he was suicidal, but it wasn't.
Right.
But he started the phone call with, "Ma'am, we have a suicide." He set the narrative, and that set the entire case for the last 7 years. We didn't even have to go through all of that without that being true.
And he wasn't expecting that question, so he answered honestly that Christian didn't say he was going to do it.
Yeah, Julie said, funny, if he was downstairs, why would he say Christian's name at the beginning of the call? Good question. I've always wondered that, like, did he expect Christian to answer?
I think it was practice.
Yeah, because Whitley was doing it too. Christian. I know, like, this is totally off topic, but Big Brother, you know, we have a Christian on there. And now anytime anybody says his name, I'm like, oh God, it sounds like Whitley. It drives me insane.
Yeah, he was definitely acting.
Was he on another phone while calling 911 maybe and said Christian's name to another caller?
I think it was practice.
Yeah, because she was doing it too.
Yeah, he was practicing being upset and failed.
It was like they rehearsed like screaming Christian's name, I guess. I don't know what the point of that would be. Like, I could understand screaming and like grabbing Christian and like trying to perform life-saving measures and all that kind of stuff, but they didn't even do that.
No, because they knew he had been dead for hours.
Right.
So there was no point to even fake it.
Do we have the link for the StreamYard?
Yeah.
I need to figure out how to link that myself so I don't have to tell you to do it. Also, he puts the 911 operator on hold to answer his mom's call. Exactly. Your mom can wait. You are on the phone with 911 that is supposedly your best friend, laying across the bathroom with blood everywhere, which we know that was a lie. And he puts the 911 operator on hold to answer his mom's phone call. Right, we already know that his mom knew first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she knew a lot earlier in the day.
So I've kind of floundered on the fact that he gave the wrong address being intentional. I think he's just stupid. That's just my personal opinion. I think that it wasn't intentional. I think he just said that, like, they practiced so much that he forgot like one piece and he said the wrong apartment name or the wrong complex name. Because I think that if he was going to give the wrong address, it would have been like a way wrong address. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion on it.
Well, I think I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. I think he could have been buying time too to get family members there. But I don't know. We got somebody ready to join. You have to unmute yourself.
Who is it? It doesn't show me names on the screen.
Angel P. Doesn't?
Oh. Mm-mm. Hi, Angel.
Gotta unmute yourself.
You'll see a little mute button down below. Just hit that. Hope you're chatting to us. Okay.
No, he didn't call 911 from Christian's phone. He called from his own phone.
Yeah, Whitley's wailing is over the top, I believe.
No, the shower wasn't running because Christian was dead for hours inside of it.
Angel, you have to unmute your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I made it.
Yay.
How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I am. This is the first time I've ever called in and spoken in.
Well,
I'm
I
excited to hear what you have to say. She's a nurse. So
oh, yes. You're the one that's been commenting on the YouTube comments.
yes, ma'am.
So what do you think?
The whole thing is so. Yes, ma'am. I've been commenting on everything I can find to try to draw more attention. You know, the I apologize for the sudden draw here from. But I think the whole thing is so ridiculously insane that it's not so much that the crime is hard, it's the extremes that the people went to cover up what happened.
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that they really ever anticipated this to go anywhere. They probably thought that Ray and Todd would just accept it and move on, and no one would see light of day of the case file or anything. So I think that they made so many mistakes and had no clue that it would get this big.
Absolutely. And just the forensic evidence. Yes, ma'am. And the forensic evidence, it doesn't lie, okay? I mean, like it or not, facts are facts. The science are the facts. And I believe in that. And I do not believe in any way that this is true.
Angel, you're a little like muffled.
Yeah.
Am I echoed?
Not echoing so much, just muffled. Can't really hear.
Um,
Julie, I agree though. Angel, are you there?
I think she's trying to fix her.
Oh, okay. So Julie says, I think it was a way to make it seem like he was so distraught and explaining why their family got there first. Yeah, it could be.
Well, they needed protection, and that's why their family was there, in my opinion.
I'm here. I'm a boomer. Does anybody else want to come up and talk about the 911 call? Christy wanted to talk about the experts that NBI used.
Well, NBI claims that they used the same course that we just used. The same, I mean, we didn't use a course, but they went off the same textbook that we used to do this analysis.
Oh,
So
can you hear my TV? Is that the problem?
I can hear your TV, yeah.
You can? Okay, I'll be right
Yeah.
back. Sorry, I had it turned down.
Christy?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello? We can hear you.
Okay, I don't know why there's my avatar. It needs to come up. I don't know why you can't see my Bianca, my Miss Bianca.
Mm.
I love her. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the NBI report. They went to a like a work session, a seminar that was put on by detectives out of Florida. It's a way for police officers to earn PD, which are for, credits, professional development credits. They earn them in their field. And so this is put on, and this one specifically was for tough cases that people have a hard time, or police officers have a hard time solving. And they specifically went over the 911 call. I looked into this group and their credentialing and what type of experts that they had to analyze the 911 call, because I don't know if you remember, but in the MBI report, it was kind of like a couple paragraphs that they all agreed. It was a consensus. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, they used, or supposedly used, exactly what we're using.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that they ever covered the case in there. I find it so hard to believe that any expert would take that opinion.
Right? Well, I think so. Let's step back for a second. It basically was a bunch of detectives from Mississippi and what's the state to the right? Is it Arkansas? Alabama, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alabama.
So there were detectives from Alabama as well, because I did a search and I found who went to this. I was able to use my magic Google skills and find out who sent their people to this conference. And it's like crowdsourcing. So they have all these detectives in the room and they're like, okay, let's talk about this 911 call. Okay, so we're talking about, sorry, Mississippi detectives all saying, no, I don't hear malice. I don't hear malice. And if we take their, how do I say this, their level of education or what they know, I'm laughing because I don't put a lot of confidence in Mississippi detectives. So they have one guy who's leading the seminar, and you don't find out his credentials specifically. They don't list his name specifically. They just list the company, and then they send detectives out to do these seminars, and they kind of go over, but really they just talk about their cases. And it's to get a different perspective or different eyes. These aren't trained 911 call experts. They're not. And even if there was one, then he should get fired, because there were so many blatant red flags that were just completely glossed over and looked over. So that in the MBI report, I just irritates me to no end, because it was a lot of money to send them to this PD thing and for them to analyze it. It was a joke. It was just a joke.
Yeah, he hit every single guilty indicator.
Every single one.
Every single one. There's not one innocent indicator that he hit. And in multiple ways on each indicator. It was overwhelming, in my opinion.
I agree. It was blatant. It's like a blatant disregard of the evidence and the 911 call. And just because they decided, no, we don't feel that there was, what did the word they used? There was deceit or deception in the 911 call. They thought it was honest, or
Yeah, I forget what word they used.
it just irritates me because they didn't, like you said, I don't think that they, I don't know what went on there. I'd love to talk to other detectives that were there.
If they legit went over this 911 call, they all need to be fired.
Exactly. Well, and that goes back to they're basically crowdsourcing here other Mississippi law enforcement to analyze the calls. And I don't have a lot of confidence in their police work, in their detective work, because they always they don't actually go to trial. They don't actually go and test the evidence, their skills in court. They don't get cross-examined. They don't get people questioning their skills. They just say, "Oh no, that call is not, they're not guilty. There's no deceit.
Mhm.
There's no testing
So
the self. They're what they're capable of." You know what I mean? Like, sorry.
no, I get it. I just want to say too, I wanted to add this at the beginning and I forgot to add it, but the author of this 911 textbook, Tracy Harpster, he has already given analysis on this call, on Christian's call, and he is prepared to give an expert. He is available to give expert testimony on what he analyzed. So just put that out there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see.
Samantha, they didn't take any evidence from the scene. The only thing they took was the gun, the bullet, and the shell casing. They didn't take anything else. Oh, and the knife, I think.
Do we have any more things to discuss about the 911 call? I mean, he hit every. Susan, you told me a couple days ago that he hit every indicator except for one, right?
Well, he had
And
the one is the one with the noise that he made before the call, and that was like it could go either way, because like I said, I think that was practice,
yeah,
not
that was clearly
necessarily.
staged.
Yeah. So I mean, in reality, I believe he did hit that indicator too, but I was throwing him a bone since he couldn't get any other innocent indicators.
This is annoying. So I have to keep my YouTube up because on StreamYard there's this little chat bubble. Like if you're having issues, down here in my right corner, so I can't see the bottom comment ever. Scrambled Mind said it doesn't have as much to do with Mississippi as it does that it was all internal. Yeah.
Okay, so I found the ad or whatever they put out, and it was with Harrison County Law Enforcement Training Academy, in-service training opportunity, and they would receive 40 hours of PD, or maybe it would be 40 hours total, and it was advanced techniques for unsolved death investigations. And the topics they included were cold case squad philosophy, cold case selection criteria, determination of time, manner, and cause of death throughout the examination of the crime scene, new forensic techniques available to the investigator, sexual homicides, psychological profiling and evaluation of the crime scene expanded, presentation of unsolved cases.
And
And it's
911 isn't even
right.
mentioned.
No, it's not mentioned. And it says audience newly assigned and seasoned detectives, investigations supervisors, crime scene technicians, medical examiner and coroner investigators, military investigative personnel. Classes restricted to sworn law enforcement officers and those personnel assigned directly to law enforcement agencies. And it was $795 per person, and it was in Gulfport, Mississippi.
If they were going to analyze a 911 call in a professional expert capacity, they should have taken Tracy Harpster's class.
Or they should have sent it out to a professional and had it analyzed, not requiring
to Tracy Harpster.
Right, not themselves analyzing the call, and did exactly what Susan did. They should have hired her. I mean, obviously they didn't really need to hire anybody. They just had to go through the innocent indicators and the guilty indicators. it's so blatantly clear.
Yeah.
It's because they don't care about this case. Let's just cut to the chase here. They don't give two craps about this case at all. So
Well-
why would they go to this training and pretend like they got all this 911 expertise when it wasn't even centered around that at all? They're just full of it.
And they often refer, you hear them, I don't know, say, oh, these were just kids, you know, you can, there's this underlying narrative that they didn't do it. Like, they were totally snowballed. They were, like, they couldn't look at it objectively. There was this, was tainted, that all of it was the investigation. They weren't looking at it with independent eyes. They just wanted to be done with it.
Right. They wanted to be done with it the first day, that day. February 26th, it was over for them. They didn't think that it would be drawn out for 7 years, and certainly not at the capacity that it has been.
Right. And even when MBI, they didn't want to investigate. Their report is just, I know that's another day, but
it's a
Yes.
bunch of,
We
what
get
about
there.
this? This could have happened.
I can't wait.
No investigation whatsoever.
I think it's
No.
next week, so.
And yes, I can't wait. It's there.
Okay.
It just is the NBI and the other narratives. I mean, lay it out. Nobody cared about this case.
Right.
None of the officials cared about this case. They didn't.
Nope.
Nope.
Horrible.
Did you want to talk about the hands freezing?
Oh, we're getting there.
Oh yeah.
We're getting there. Does anybody else want to discuss anything about the 911 call before we get to the next topic? This one's a good one. Who's ready for this? Shoot me a hands up or a give me a 5 in the chat if this is, you're dying for this one. I'm expecting to see some of my friends ready for this. Some of you might not know what we're talking about. Actually, let's go back for just a second, Christy. 5.
I think you meant to hand, but
Yeah. The MBI report says Whitley's statement is consistent. It is absolutely not. So that alone tells me the report they gave is crap. Yep. You're right. Okay. So I forgot to print out the gaslighting page, but I think everybody here is clear what gaslighting is. You know, they'll tell a blatant lie. They deny they ever said something, even though you have proof. They use what is near and dear to you as ammunition. They wear you down over time. Their actions do not match their words. They throw in positive reinforcement to confuse you. They know confusion weakens people. They project. They try to align people against you. They tell you or others that you are crazy. They tell you everyone else is a liar. Those are signs of gaslighting. So what we have here and on the screen is, do you guys remember back to our second episode where we covered the text messages? Well, about a week or two after that episode, I don't know if there's a date. Oh, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. One of, and I can say her name and we can put it on the screen because she left these public comments on our YouTube channel. They're public for everybody to see. You guys can go back to episode 2 if you want to look and see what we're talking about. Please don't attack anybody. Don't look them up on Facebook and attack them. That's not what we're here for. And that's not why we're presenting this tonight. We're presenting this because there's some juice in it, okay? This person is a Meridian, Mississippi resident. She has been very vocal against the Andreacchio family. She, even on her Facebook profile, her bio underneath says Christian committed suicide. How disgusting of a human do you have to be to do something like that? Even if he did, which none of us here believe that he did, but if he did, you really want to be the person that puts that as your bio on your Facebook profile? You didn't know Christian. He was not a part of your life. You are disgusting. So she's taken it upon herself to be the voice for the other side. And she decided to leave some comments on our YouTube channel. She's the only one that's done so far, surprisingly. But boy, okay, so going back a step. So in our second episode, we covered the text messages and the calls briefly, and hi, Angie. And yes, she definitely has that as her bio on her Facebook profile. And you'll see, she says it several times in here. So there were 3 phone calls made to Matt Miller's phone on the 26th at 3:44 p.m. One was Christian's phone. One was Dylan. Why is Dylan calling Matt? And a third caller that we've always referred to as the third caller because, nope, it's Tammy Shelton, Julie. We've referred to this person as the third caller because we just didn't believe that we needed to put this out there. We handed the information over to the appropriate people and decided we were going to let them do with what that information, what they chose. And, the appropriate people, we mean the Andreacchios and whoever that they needed to get that information to. We don't believe in coincidences, right? So 3 people tied to the case calling Matt at 3:44 p.m. That's not a coincidence. If you believe so, okay. But we just chose to not put it out there because it's not our place to reveal. It's not our place to reveal. I'll just leave it at that, right? Like, we don't want the glory for anything. We just want to put the facts out there. And all we needed to say was there was a third caller. So let's just start. Are we ready? So Tammy Shelton 2 weeks ago comments on our text message live and says, I have a question about the phone records the Andreacchio subpoenaed. When Zach's family received information from AT&T about Zach's phone records, they had nothing to hide and didn't fight the records being released. Chances are they did the same thing to Jet's phone records. What were the findings when they received and reviewed the records? It only stands to reason if their phones pinged on a cell phone tower near the apartment on the day Christian died, it would have been a hot topic in the Justice for Christian and the Sleuth Syndicate's Facebook groups. Does the silence on the phone records mean there was nothing there? Susan replied, well, Tammy, that's a great question. I'd love to see both those records. I got the phone records from Frankie, not Ray. So the better question is, why did Frankie not pass those over too? Must have something to hide. I'm going to stop right here and let you know that because of the defamation case, there is a gag order on anything that is included in discovery. I'll leave it right there for right now. Frankie, and I'll add, Frankie gave Susan Matt's, Christian's,
Dylan's,
and Whitley's phone records. It was announced in their Facebook group that they had access to Jets and that they would be coming out with cell phone tower pings. They still have not ever done so. If I'm wrong, correct me.
Well, also, when he sent me those 4 records, he volunteered that he didn't have Jets when I didn't even ask him about having Jets. And then later, when they came out claiming that they had, they came out basically saying that they had Jets records and he was nowhere near there, blah, blah, blah. I sent him an email and said, hey, since y'all say that you have those records, why don't you send them to me? And he just said, oh, they weren't there. I'm telling you, Ray's lying, but I'll look for him. And I never heard back from him. This was quite a while ago.
Months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tammy replied after that and said, Sleuth Syndicate, thank you for replying to my question. To answer your question about Frankie, I'm not sure how Frankie would have gained access to the phone records Ray's attorney subpoenaed. If Frankie had the phone records of Zach or Jet, he would have gladly shared them with you. Would he? Gag order. No doubt. Do you have them, Susan?
No,
Did he send them to you?
no.
Okay. What would Frankie have to gain by trying to hide or avoiding sharing the subpoenaed phone records, which would have come from Ray to begin with? There's absolutely nothing Frankie could or would have stood to gain. I don't, for 1 minute, think Ray would willingly share the subpoenaed phone records she obtained and initially thought were going to be hard evidence in her favor, because she can't. There's a gag order, lady. But
Can I interrupt
Yep,
here?
yep.
One
for
other
it.
thing that really bothers me is she keeps throughout this thing saying, well, Ray had him. Why don't you get him from Ray? Well, you want me to be open-minded. Why would I go to Ray for this? I'm going to
Right.
Frankie. I'm being
Right.
open-minded.
Gaslighting.
Yeah.
But instead proved her theory wrong, and it proved Jet and or Zach were nowhere near the apartment on the day Christian died. How do you know that, Tammy? Do you have Jet's phone records? Because if you do, the gag order has been broken. Especially not with the families of those she holds responsible for the death of Christian. I see 2 reasons Ray would gladly share and or discuss the subpoenaed phone records. Number 1, being forced to turn over the phone records by a court-ordered motion of discovery. Gag order. Number 2, the phone records prove her theory and Jet and or Zach were at or near the apartment the day Christian died. I'm going to stop here for a second. Even if there wasn't a gag order and we had access or Ray had access and could gather those cell phone tower pings, wouldn't the wise thing be to hold her cards close to her chest and hand them over to the authorities? Wouldn't that be the logical thing? Would that not be wise?
Exactly.
You're going to show everybody your hands so that they could come up with lies like this 18 pages of bullcrap that you've left on our YouTube? If the phone records had proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Jet and or Zach was at or near the apartment on the day Christian died, it would have been a hot topic within the Justice, Christian, and the Sleuth Syndicate Facebook groups. The news would have also been posted and reported on every YouTube channel that ever mentioned or heard of Christian. No, it wouldn't. Why? Why would you hand over evidence for everybody to just spill before it's in the appropriate channels? Because the cell phone records were subpoenaed and or obtained months and months before the lawsuit against the Andreacchios was filed and before the order was put in place to not discuss anything pertaining to the lawsuit, it only stands to reason the phone records of Jet and Zach prove Jet and or Zach was nowhere near the apartments on the day Christian died. Again, how do you know that, Tammy?
Yeah.
Show us.
Yeah. We're supposed to take her word for it? Yeah. No, thank you.
Show us. You can PM one of us. Show us. Our email address is in there. Go ahead, show us. Gag order. Susan replied, all your questions regarding Ray should be addressed to Ray, not me. I don't speak for Ray. Your obsession of her is glaring. Seek help. No one should live rent-free in your head. Once again, the phone records I got were from Frankie. When an admin from Truth is in the case file or whatever your group name is, boasted about having the phone records and mentioning having Jet specifically, I reached out to Frankie once again and asked him for a copy. He told me he'd get back to me. Haven't heard back. I'm sure Frankie appreciates your claim that he would gladly share them, yet he hasn't, and your admin claims to have them. So apparently they are accessible to y'all. Your group admin also promised to map out said phone records and post them publicly, which was never done. This would suggest that there are things in said records that don't align well with the theory you push. Since I already have Matt's and Dylan's records, I know this to be fact. There are lies they both told that don't fit their records. There are also seems to be a third, I'm going to say this again, a third caller at 3:44 to Matt that I am sure presents a problem for y'all when it comes to the claim that Christian was making those calls. You seem so confident that Jet and Zach were not around. How would you be so confident they weren't if you haven't seen the records? Since it appears you have seen them, why don't you email them to me and I'll happily review them? If you haven't seen them and you're so confident, I guess that makes you a minion and blindly following your leader. That wouldn't be very objective, would it? That was 2 weeks ago. Have you gotten an email, Susan?
No.
Okay. Tammy replied a week later. She's very punctual.
She needs help.
Yeah. Sleuth Syndicate, FYI. Ray avoids questions from people who are from outside of her inner circle. Ray needs time to study each question. She needs to prepare to give answers which will not puncture holes into the fabrications she spun. Says the person it took a week to reply. LOL. No one is obsessed with Ray. Okay. However, she's speaking for a group, okay? We are definitely amused with the things she claims and never backs up as a parent should be able to do, such as pretending to have been big buddies with Christian. Yet there are no photos of their attending any concerts together, no videos of them dancing or singing together at concerts. How do you know, first of all? Second of all, do you have children? Do you have children, Tammy? How many photos of you and your children are there together? Because it's usually the mom taking the photos. Frankie has shared everything with you. Now what you choose to acknowledge or make public is up to you. As far as FW is concerned, he shared it all. He did?
No, that's a lie, and I can prove it.
If I'm not mistaken, you also claimed at one time you didn't have some records of Dylan's, when in fact you did. You misread the label and first thought they were duplicates, and they were not. It was what you were looking for. Okay, tell me you're talking to Frankie without telling me you're talking to Frankie, because that was private emails between Susan and Frankie.
And it wasn't Dylan, it was Matt.
Yeah, the only person calling Matt Miller the day Christian committed suicide was Christian. He was doing everything possible to get Matt to the apartment. Christian had full intentions of killing Matt.
How does she know that?
Mm-hmm. So we're not allowed to speculate, but she is, right?
Right. Or she didn't speculate. She's like, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
She was like in his head or something.
Should Christian have been able to reach Matt and lure him to the apartment, Matt would have been killed. Why did Dylan call him then? Was Dylan going to help Christian kill Matt?
Oh, no, they claim Christian used Dylan's phone.
Oh, but Dylan knew that Christian wanted to kill Matt?
Right, but that also doesn't align with caller number 3, so I don't know about that. Okay.
When the coroner arrived at the scene, Christian was still warm and the rigor level was at 0%. Okay, go back to the case file, Tammy. The report said he was cold to the touch. Christian has not been deceased long at all. The proof is in the records. Also, the claims Ray has made saying people put Christian's autopsy photos online for everyone to see is a false claim. Any and all autopsy photos are shown on TV and online were distributed by Ray when she gave those files and photos to Crime Watch Daily. Oh boy. Okay. No, they were not. Crime Watch Daily got the photos from the Arden report. You genius. To this day, Ray has not seen the autopsy photos, so let's try again. Also, the photos CWD used to show the lividity on Christian's legs, those photos were taken over 24 hours after Christian died. Had he been moved from the bathroom, his body had been kept in cold storage for over 24 hours before being transported over 90 miles away in a van to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's office around Jackson, Mississippi. Using those photos to show lividity is not the best thing to be used. There's entirely too much movement from storing the body and transporting. The marks mean absolutely nothing. Who wants this one?
Well, he was transported face down in the same position he was in over the tub. So try again.
Okay. We do have one question for Ray. So again, she's speaking for everybody, okay? You're speaking for everybody here, Tammy, so you're in hot water in a few pages. It concerns the phone call she and Christian had on his way home, the one on the morning of the day Christian committed suicide. What did Christian say that was so upsetting to Ray that it cut off there?
Made Christian lash out and tell Ray to go ahead and cry about that to Ray, and then Christian hung up on her. Which never happened.
I think my printer cut that off. I'm sorry. Yeah. Show us proof of this. Who told you that? Dylan?
Well, look at the phone records. He never spoke to her after 7:45, and Dylan didn't pick him up until 8. So try again.
Yeah. Susan replied, Frankie did not send me jets or Zach's. You're wrong, and I can prove it. It was Matt's records. I didn't see it first. because of the way the files were named, and I found it before he even got back to me. BFD. There absolutely was a third caller to Matt at 3:44. Look at Matt's records. Christian didn't have a call with his mom on the way home. He spoke to her before he was picked up by Dylan. Stop your lying. It's getting ridiculous. You're clearly obsessed with Ray. Tammy replied 6 days ago. Slew Syndicate. With every video you make and the comments you post proves there's nothing about Christian's life or death that interests you.
So now she's in our heads.
I'm sorry. We've dedicated, this is our 6th episode, right? So we've dedicated 6 whole weeks and 2 years, but nothing interests us.
No, not at all.
The depths of deception you're willing to go are showing and downright despicable. Where? What deception? You're making up lies. We just read one.
Well, more than one.
Yeah, just be honest. You only care about getting attention from talking about the lies being told about his death. FYI, Christian was not murdered. Christian committed suicide. Yes, Tammy, we could read that on your Facebook. Not that you actually care. You only care about making money from donations by peddling the same BS-filled lies and in hopes of getting a pat on the head from his family. Who has donated to us?
I got some empty pockets here.
I am wearing a dress, but I have empty pockets too. Tell us in the comments if you've donated to us. Donated to where?
Yeah,
We're not
to where?
monetized.
So we could go and collect.
We're not monetized on YouTube. We've made zero dollars. In fact, we've paid out money.
Yep.
To research this case, to be onto YouTube, for podcasting equipment. You guys got our podcast shut down. For cameras, we spend every single week, and we do it because we care about Christian and we care about the Andreacchio family. So shut up. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It makes me so mad. Oh, by the way, here we go. Are you ready?
Oh, this is good. This is
Here we
cold.
go. Here's the juice. I'm going to calm down now. Oh, by the way, the mysterious phone call you're convinced it's going to be a thorn in our side. Well, it's actually going to be a pain in your ass. This one little phone call has made you happy and thinking you have everyone by the balls. We do. They're right here.
Yeah.
You've convinced yourself and told everyone who will listen this one phone call is the clue to finding out about Christian's death. Actually, in a sense, you're right. It is about the death of Christian. Unfortunately for you, it completely screws up your scenario. Shoot, my printer cut that off too. You're going to have to finish reading that. Sorry. It is a phone call about Christian's death. Jet had just heard the news about Christian committing suicide from his mother. Jet decided to call his cousin Matt and tell him about Christian committing suicide. Is that the end of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait 1 second though. I don't think we've ever told anyone and everyone that would listen anything about this phone call. We've mentioned it under 10 times about it being a third caller. I would even say under 5 times. So it's not like we're out talking about it because we didn't want to put it out there. So whatever on what she's saying.
We've never said Jet's name in regards to this 344 phone call. We've only alluded to a third caller. We didn't give any hints on who that third caller could be. And in fact, people tried to guess and they were way off. We've never gone any further than saying that there was a third caller. Like Susan said, you just put this third caller out there. Thank you very much for doing so we can talk about it now. We appreciate your help on this one. I'm sure that Ray's attorneys appreciate your help also. And if you would like to go to the Stubbs interview that's in the case file and listen to Jet's interview, he didn't find out about Christian dying until 8 o'clock that night, according to Jet.
Well, we haven't gotten to that part yet.
Okay. So, I'm getting ahead of myself and fired up. So Susan replied, Oh, Tammy, you're so delusional. Please tell me where we have made a penny. We haven't. Question for you. If that third caller called Matt at 3:44 because he heard of Christian's death, why did Dylan wait an hour to call 911?
Oh, sorry. We did get to it.
911 was called at 4:45. If Christian was dead, how did he call Matt at the same time using his phone and Dylan's? Quit your lying, or better yet, keep it up. It's ruining some alibis. It ruined a lot of alibis. It ruined Dylan's. It ruined Jet's. It ruined Whitley's. Your whole story completely folded in one paragraph, Tammy, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Because now we get to talk about it. I replied, how would his mom know Christian was dead an hour before 911 was called? Why would he care to call Matt if he didn't even know Christian? Do you need a bigger shovel? You're digging a deep hole. Actually, that was Susan. I sounds like Jan needs to be deposed.
Yes.
Sounds like Jan needs to be questioned. Then, I don't know who said this. Don't worry, Tammy. I took screenshots to hand over to the special prosecutor when they investigate. This will be something they will definitely want to question your peeps about. RN Mom said, Sleuth Syndicate, you go, girls. Oh, we're going. We are going. Renee said, Tammy Shelton, looks like you just handed Jet's balls over. Good job. Yep, thanks. Angelia said, Renee and ruined Dylan's alibi too. Tammy said, she takes a while to reply. This was 4 days ago. No one has handed Jet over to anyone. He hasn't done anything. The information about Jet's phone records and the towers his calls pinged off or on have been available since Ray subpoenaed Zach's and Jet's several years ago. Lies. If the phone records placed Jet anywhere near the apartment on the day Christian committed suicide, Jet would have been brought in for questioning. Nobody has been questioned. Christian's grandfather was a well-known, liked, and respected sitting judge in Lauderdale County, Mississippi, until he retired after 29 years on the bench and 6 years after Christian's death. This is the same county Christian died in. If he had thought for 1 minute his grandson was murdered and it was needed, he would have used his position to have someone arrested and brought to justice. Everyone who thinks they're being of service to Ray should wake up. You're all being used as a pawn in her vendetta. Ray is lashing out at people who have absolutely nothing to do with Christian's death. Anybody see Ray commenting in this thread anywhere?
What? Also, is she condoning corruption?
Whoa. You mean it's okay to be corrupt?
I guess so.
Just like Cobbler didn't change it from undetermined to suicide because he was doing Ray a favor.
Yeah.
So is Cobbler corrupt or is he not?
Wow.
It's just the MO for that area. They're used to it.
Yeah. I mean, she acts like it's just no big deal to be corrupt. Huh.
Then she replied to us and said, excellent. They will see you're still spreading lies for Ray, and Ray is still falsely accusing Jet of murdering Christian, someone who died of suicide. I'm sure your comments will help Whitley and Jet's lawsuit. It appears you're being spoon-fed information from Ray after the judge made it clear to stop. Oh no, Tammy, the only one that's going to be in trouble is your side because you just broke the gag order and put it all over the internet for everybody to see. But thank you again. We appreciate it. Susan said, Tammy Shelton, you have got to be the biggest idiot in the Goon Squad. High five. You're claiming Jet called Matt at 3:44 to tell him Christian was dead. 911 was called at 4:45. How would Jan know at 3:44 and call Jet to tell him? Then Jet calls Matt. All to talk about a person they all claim to not know. You're also calling Jet a liar since in an interview he claimed Chelsea told him later that night. You just opened a can of worms for Jet and Jan. It will be great for info for the lawsuit, no doubt about that, just not in their favor. You'll probably be banned from peddling the lies you spewed. And then I said, Tammy Shelton, you do realize the only one who has violated the judge's orders is the person who gave you Jet's phone records, don't you? The gag order is on the discovery, which includes those records. Thanks for letting us know you have them. Anything else you would like to tell us you have access to since you're being so helpful? Renee said, Tammy Shelton, you seem to be having issues understanding what information you gave up. You might want to reread everything. Hell, reread it a few times if you must. It has been pointed out a few times here. It also It's also been shared in the group, so I'm sure you all have seen the whoopsie you made by now. As far as Christian's grandfather is concerned, I heard he was at the last hearing. Sounds like he wasn't the type that used his power, but rather let the justice system work. 7 years and still waiting for that. Now that he is retired, he is now standing beside his daughter and grandson, showing you and everyone else he doesn't believe Christian self-harmed. Tammy replied and said, Sleuth Syndicate, I said Jet called Matt to talk to his cousin at 344. You did?
No, you didn't.
She's a liar.
She's trying to change it now.
I mean, she really just has to scroll up and see what she wrote.
Yeah.
I think there might be a comprehension issue.
At the minimum. Where'd Misty go?
I'm here. I'm finding it. I want to reread what she said. Sorry, guys. I want to just reiterate what she said. Okay. So she says, I said Jet called Matt to talk to his cousin at 344. Matt was supposedly asleep at 344. Matt was supposedly asleep? Like, you don't even believe his story? The call at 344 isn't important. You're trying to turn a call that was never answered into your golden egg. Sorry, chick, that's not happening. Say it out loud and let's pray it all sink in for you. The 344 call from Jet's phone to Matt is irrelevant. It does not matter. It certainly does.
Absolutely
This was her
does.
words 2 days prior to what she said. Oh, by the way, the mysterious phone call, you're convinced it's going to be a thorn in our side. Well, it's actually going to be a pain in your ass. This one little phone call has made you happy and thinking you have everyone by the balls. You've convinced yourself and told everyone who will listen this one phone call is a clue to finding out about Christian's death. Actually, in a sense, you're right. It's about the death of Christian. Unfortunately for you, it completely screws up your scenario. It's a phone call about Christian's death. Jet had just heard the news from Christian about Christian committing suicide from his mother. Jet decided to call his cousin Matt and tell him about Christian committing suicide.
At 344.
And then 2 days later, you say he called to talk to his cousin Matt. Receipts, Tammy. These are receipts of your own words. Then she says, Lady, you desperately need to walk away from all this mess Ray is telling you and take a long, much-needed break. I think you need the break, Tammy. Christian's grandfather, who was named Gerald Wayne Thompson, thank you, we didn't know that, like, thanks for putting it on the internet, though, was dating Jet's grandmother. GWT went by Jet's grandmother's house and told her that his grandson, Christian Andreacchio, had committed suicide a little earlier. Okay, so what was it? The 344 phone call was Jan called Jet to tell Jet that Jet committed suicide, and then Jet called Matt? Or did Jet find out from his grandmother? Jet's mother then turns around, calls and tells her son Jet about Christian committing suicide. There's no way that Gerald Wayne Thompson knew before that 344 phone call. There's no flipping way. 4:45 is when 911 was called. How hard is this? Who has let you out of your cage, Tammy? Who let you speak? The way Jet Miller and his family found out about Christian Andreacchio committing suicide came from Christian Andreacchio's own grandfather. No, you just told me that he found out from his mom. Does the way I broke it down for you to help you understand the chain of actions? No, actually, it just spins your web of lies more. But thank you. Renee said, Tammy Shelton, keep telling yourself and the few that will listen, it doesn't matter how long you have known of someone, you still don't know what happens in private nor their beliefs. Have you asked him what he believes happened since so much has come out? I don't think so. Now go and try and spin your spin of what all you have said here. It's not working. You said what you said, and now thanks to you, it looks like Jet and his mom might have some splaining to do.
Wait, where are you at?
Oh, I was on page 9.
Yeah.
We're on 8.
What?
We're on 8.
Oh, see, I'm fired up and I got off track. Okay, sorry.
Where Tammy's replying to Renee, you do realize.
About
Okay,
Chris.
Sorry. Forget that. I'm fired up. I'm telling you. Okay, so Renee, you do realize you're talking about the same man who used the same system to stop his own son from spending 15 years in the state prison for drug trafficking, right? I know GWT almost all of my life. Can we verify?
Oh, it gets verified.
He doesn't know you, Tammy. You've heard of him for what, 5 to 6 years at the most? If he thought for 1 minute Christian was murdered, he wouldn't have given a second thought about going after someone. You're right. He was at the hearing. He was throwing support behind a man he's known a long time because the man was attempting to slide into the special prosecutor slot. That's far from thinking and saying he thinks Christian was murdered. It just so happens GWT is the one who told the Millers Christian committed suicide. No. Jet
Not according to
heard from
Jet.
Chelsea. He says so
later.
in his own interview. Seriously. Then Susan says, oh, but that call is important. 3 people calling Matt at the exact same time. You need to read what you said again. You claimed he was calling him to tell him Christian was dead because his mommy told him that. That call was an hour before 911 was called. Your obsession with Ray is getting a bit disgusting. You're the one that needs to walk away. Tammy, and then we said, Tammy Shelton, and according to Jet, the word out of his own mouth said Chelsea told him. Did his own words break it down for you good enough? RN Mom said, Tammy Shelton, since Gerald Wayne has no way of knowing about Christian until later that night, then how would he have told the Millers before 3:44? And Gerald Wayne doesn't know you from Adam, so you may know who he is, but he don't know you. But you don't know him. I think she meant he doesn't know you. He has never thought Christian committed suicide. He wasn't at a hearing to throw weight behind anyone. Evidently, you don't know the difference between county judges and federal judges. She doesn't know the difference between her. Never mind.
Yeah.
So I'll go back and read. Tammy Shelton, keep telling yourself and the few that will listen, it doesn't matter how long you've known of someone. You still don't know what happens in private, nor their beliefs. Have you asked him what he believes happened since so much has come out? I didn't think so. Now go try and spin your spin of what all you have said here. It's not working. You said what you said, and now thanks to you, it looks like Jet and his mom might have some splaining to do. Susan said a lot of words. Just kidding.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I was worked up.
I know. We will never walk away from pursuing justice for Christian, and after justice is served, we will stand by the Andreacchio family. Amen. There is absolutely nothing you can say or do that will change our minds, change the facts, or change the undeniable proof, science, that Christian was in fact sensibly murdered on February 26, 2014. Anyone that stumbles on this thread and reads it will not be swayed by you. In fact, they will likely get the impression that you are obsessed with Ray, you destroyed Dylan's alibi, and you placed Jet and Jan smack in the middle of this, opening up many more questions about the Millers' knowledge of Christian's murder. Is Jet calling Matt at 3:44 a golden egg? Nope, we never said it was. As a matter of fact, we kept that out of public knowledge. You outed that information, not us. Is that call suspect? Absolutely it is. There are no coincidences, and it brings up the fact that Jet's phone records should be reviewed, and now Jan's should be too. This phone call is a small piece of the puzzle. The real meat of the case is the crime scene. It was staged and cleaned up. Science tells us there is absolutely no way Christian could have pulled the trigger and ended up where he was, where the gun was, where his arms were, where the bullet was, and where the shell casing was. There is no way he could have cleaned up the blood spatter all over the wall. Dylan went to the bank while on a 9-minute phone call with BK while he was inside the bank. Then he came out and texted Christian's phone after he was in the bank, claiming, hey, I'm here, you still want me to do this? Why would he send that text after the trip inside? If he was just appeasing his friend, he would have never needed to actually go inside the bank at all. He could have just lied and said he did. Of course, Christian was already dead when that text was sent, so it was just poor staging on Dylan's part by not sending that text before he went inside the bank. This is just complete and utter BS. Your time spent here in this thread is fruitless. You will not convince anyone Christian self-harmed. You are just showing people exactly how disgusting you are. It's time for you to move along and go speak your lies elsewhere. No one here is buying what you're telling. I'd even venture to bet anyone that was on the fence would read this thread and be convinced it was murder. Not by anything we say, but by reading your unhinged, crazy, gaslighting, spinning word salad you spew. Our goal is not to convince anyone of anything. Our goal is to put the facts out there using the case file for people to come to their own conclusions. It is clear in the case file itself that the first responders were not buying what Whitley and Dylan were selling. It is clear that the two detectives who later reviewed the case weren't buying it either. It is clear that Whitley and Dylan had very different accounts of the day Christian was murdered. It is clear that law enforcement dropped the ball. I think I'm missing a sentence.
And didn't do
No.
a thorough investigation of the scene, questioning of Whitley and Dylan, or anything else in regards to Christian's murder. Authorities even stated themselves that the case was botched. This is an audio. There is no denying that. Are you?
What isn't clear?
What isn't clear is why law enforcement didn't do their job that day. Justice will prevail, and the people responsible for Christian's murder will be held accountable. Tammy replied back to Renee, not to us, because she couldn't
To RN
answer.
Mom.
Oh, RN Mom, sorry. She couldn't answer any of what Susan put out there. So she said, Robin, she's just throwing darts at a wall, guessing that RN Mom is Robin. Stop grandstanding and gaslighting. She just projected about gaslighting as a gaslighter. Gerald Wayne does indeed know who I am. No, he doesn't. As you very well know, Gerald Wayne, who is Christian's grandfather, duh, lady.
Why does she have to keep telling us? Are we in second grade here?
I guess so. Does indeed
Next time,
know that Christian.
give us pictures.
Yeah, draw some. We want stick figures, please. Does indeed know that Christian committed suicide. So are you telling Christian's grandfather what he's thinking? You're telling a judge?
What's in his mind?
Well,
yeah.
maybe he does know her. Did she go before him in court?
He doesn't know her. We verified.
He doesn't know her.
Doesn't.
He has
I
no
wonder
idea who she is.
She had to go before a judge for something.
Oh.
I'm
I don't know.
100%. I'm 100% sure Gerald Wayne is responsible for telling hundreds of people about Christian's suicide. Wait a minute.
That's
Did
a
you
huge,
just lie on a freaking judge?
Yeah.
You just lied on a judge. Take a seat. It's sweet of you, of your family, to show you all really do think highly of Cassie Coleman. You use her catchphrase in 90% of your comments. Thank you for allowing the public to know the fake displays of hate towards Cassie as a way of attacking and accusing innocent people of murdering a suicide victim. Why else use the one phrase Cassie is known for saying? Cassie's catchphrase? Take a seat? Sorry.
She
Not
owns
yours.
that?
I guess so. Tammy's gatekeeping Cassie Coleman's catchphrase of take a seat. By the way, Ray paid to luminol the bathroom in the apartment Christian committed suicide in. By doing so, Ray was hoping and counting on proving her theory of a big cleanup by Dylan and Whitley's family members taking place before 911 was ever called. The luminol test proved that there was never a cleanup, and there wasn't blood all over the bathroom. Science doesn't lie. Are you all going to admit you are all wrong about the family's cleaning up theory? First of all, Tammy, go back to your case file. Your case file, it's your Bible. Go back and read Brad Two's narratives where he has conversations with, I can't remember the guy's name, Lafort, I think is his last name, that was talking about doing the luminol, and Bilbo Mitchell, and how they said that the Andreacchios would have to pay for the luminol testing, that they couldn't pay for it. It wasn't Ray paying for it out of her own free will. It was MPD, and it was Meridian County not doing their jobs and making the Andreacchios pay for it. Go back to your case file and read Brad Two's narratives. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking angry. RN Mom said, Tammy Shelton, I don't know whose family you're referring to. Believe me, I will never use that phrase again since you have now informed me that she uses it. Never want to be compared to her. Gerald Wayne said for a fact he doesn't know you. You aren't worth the time or energy. Good luck with your lies. We will see how far it gets you. Angel P said, Tammy, Shelton, they would have questioned him. LOL. Okay. I say the same thing, Angel. Okay. That's just ignorant since he was just one of multiple folks not interviewed. No one was apparently interrogated per SOP. Second, his GF position wasn't used because he is a man of character and ethics. Thank you, Angel. We said, apparently you haven't seen the color photo of the luminol. It's very telling. It proves a cleanup. I said, Cassie Coleman owns the phrase, take a seat. Interesting. Bailey Purdue's comment got cut off on my printer.
It's the one phrase she knows for duh. Man, it just keeps getting better and better.
Okay. Robin Long Harshbarger, who was accused of being RN mom, comments as herself, says Tammy Shelton, trying to figure out how Jet knew that Christian was dead before the 911 call. Who told Jet? And she says, I think you'd better get your facts straight. There is so much contradiction in your statements on this thread. I can imagine the people that are feeding you false information make you feel very important. Is that why you've injected yourself into this case? Are you a pawn being used by criminals? Who do you think you are protecting? Tammy commented back to RN Mom and said, my lies, look at the people posting. You and all others posting are neck deep in peddling Ray's lies are the ones lying. But we've just proven your lies. Your buttons have been...
And we're reading from the case file. We're talking
Her case
about
file.
facts. Absolutely nothing that we're talking about has come from Ray's mouth.
Right. Ray hasn't given us a script. You're the one with scripts. We can tell when you change your typing.
And she gets her buttons pushed. That's about what you're going to say next, because she's calling us cockroaches and telling us that we
are despicable.
We need to walk away and all this other crap that she spews.
Your buttons have been pushed because of me telling the truth. You haven't told the truth. And y'all are coming out of the woodworks to protect your lies. When the truth is told, a light in a dark place comes on, and people finally see the truth. Those who lie always scurry like the roaches trying to get out of the light and protect themselves. Where you got that from? I'm going to keep right on shining a light on the truth. Happy scurrying. What truth, Tammy? What truth have you given us? Because we've just disputed everything you've said. Tammy Shelton, the only one lying here is you. Have you had a chance to look at the color photo of the luminol? Not only does it prove the science was cleaned...
The scene
was cleaned before... Oh, God. Not only does it prove the scene was cleaned, it proves he wasn't kneeled down over the tub, among many more facts in the case it points to murder. RN Mom said, Sleuth Syndicate, that science would be way over her head. We said, Tammy Shelton, you're not shining a light on the truth that you think you are. You certainly are helping the Andreacchios, though, so keep going. We are here for it. Renee said, Sleuth Syndicate, they claim the blood spatter that is on the ceiling above the door was actually on the wall next to the tub. Of course, when the color photo was shared in y'all's group, they did not share that post. They think they can continue with their lies and people will not see the truth. There are so many that are shocked to learn they were being deceived and believed the lies. Thanks to you guys for sharing the facts from the case file, many of those have now seen the truth. Every day, the Facebook group has gotten several requests from those whose eyes have now been opened and realized they have been lied to.
I don't know if you guys remember, I went round and round with, what was her name? Kalia? I don't remember
Kalia?
what her, yeah, that's what we call her, but her screen name was Leah?
Yeah.
She was adamant that those luminol was like the tub in the shower. And I went round and I'm like, look at it. Where are you looking? And then when she realized I was telling the truth, she deleted the whole thread.
Of course.
She didn't want to own up to any of it. They believed that for a long time.
And now it's that there couldn't have cleaned up blood in those luminol photos because you would see swirl marks from where they cleaned.
Right.
They just have to, anything that we put out as fact, they have to make something else fit. If you have to make something fit, then it doesn't fit. You're lying, or you're making up facts to fit a narrative that you want people to believe. Well, you're not making up anything. Everything that we've put out is 100% from the case file. We've injected our opinions, but that's not being deceitful in any way. We're not the ones that told anybody about the 344 caller. You did. Thank you, though. Again, I appreciate it. Susan said, Renee, I don't think she's seen the color pic. I wonder what she'll change the subject to now. Renee said, it's true. They claimed the door was the tub.
There it is.
And then we said, Renee, oh, I'm sure they do. Too bad. So sad. They're wrong. RN mom facts. Renee said, there is no way to deny a cleanup once you see the color photos. No way to say he was kneeling over the tub. TP was right about one thing, though. Science doesn't lie. We all have been telling them that for years. We said 100%. 23 hours ago. Thanks for throwing some more in so I could read from 2 more pages, Tammy.
I should check and see if she's responded again.
Okay. She said, thank you. I've seen the color photos. We appreciate Ray using her donations to prove herself and her theory wrong. Her donations? What? There were not any big, flashy, glowing blood stains.
See, she has not seen the colored pictures, or she's just, yeah.
No glowing stains of any blood being mopped around or cleaned up with the towels. To be completely honest about your blood glow pictures, there wasn't enough blood to soak up into a light.
She's disgusting.
A light dazed tampon or a tiny carefree panty liner.
Now, I wonder how much she bleeds, because that wall was covered.
And Dylan said there was blood everywhere. Okay, it gets really good now. I'm not going to be able to make it through this without laughing, though. Okay. I've also seen all of the autopsy photos, even the one of Christian's hand. You know, the hand which Christian pulled the trigger with. The photo shows a nice shot of Christian's hand and index finger. His index finger is still in the same bent position as being on and pulling the trigger. People don't realize that the body tends to freeze and stay in the exact same position when death occurs, just like Christian's index finger. It's bent. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at Christian. This is horribly distasteful for me to be laughing right now. When we read this, sorry, I'm crying laughing. His hand stayed, but his arm didn't stay. I'm sorry. Christian's hand is also scientific proof of Christian being the one and only person who pulled the trigger. Christian committed suicide.
Yeah, his hands were in a relaxed state. Just like everybody's hands when they die, they kind of go relaxed.
I'm sorry. I am not laughing at Christian's death, and there is nothing funny about this, but this is comedy. Comedy. Pure gold. Pure gold. Like, who lied to you? Who told you were smart? So then Susan said, so you clearly haven't seen the color photo. Blood everywhere. Again, proves he was moved. No way the spatter would be where it was if he was over the tub. LMAO on your index finger theory. Laughable. Yeah. So tell me, Tammy, if his finger stayed that way, how did the gun end up between his left thigh and the tub? Impossible. Wouldn't his hand hold on to the gun?
Yeah.
Well, is she going with the two-hand theory? Where
she might not know about that.
Just talk.
Oh. Renee said, Tammy Shelton, you really are a nasty person. I mean, who talks about a tampon and a panty liner on YouTube? You just made me say him again. So I guess he was holding another gun in his left hand also. Both hands are in the same position. He was two-handed guns. And no, your body doesn't freeze in the same position you die in. And then Susan said, seriously laughable. He froze, yet they refused to admit he was in rigor hours later when 911 was called. I don't think she thinks out any of the BS she spews. Whew, I'm almost done. Has she replied more?
No.
Okay. Then she writes back and says, Renee, thank you. I've anxiously awaited to answer your reply. Anxiously.
Oh, shoot. This one, I forgot to make them bigger. You might have to go to the page for that. But why is she anxiously awaiting to reply? That's really weird.
Once
Just
again,
reply.
Once again, and true to form with your reply, it shows the desperation of someone who desperately wants to believe Christian committed suicide. Gaslighting. 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 It also shows your fear of realizing and knowing an indisputable fact of Christian being the one and only person who pulled the trigger and taking his own life has been shared for the world to read. Oh no, Tammy. The only thing that's been shared for the world to read is you giving up people's alibis. Thank you.
To read the rest of what she said, you're going to have to go to the thing. I forgot to click the read more to where it popped up everything she said.
Okay, give me a second, guys.
Do you want me to finish that paragraph?
Do you have it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you have it, finish that and then the next one, Renee's.
When people like myself know Christian committed suicide, it's because of our reading, studying, and digging into everything the case file has to offer. Autopsy photos included. We don't listen to the gossip people tell in podcasts, such as Culpable and Without Warning, both of whom are being sued for telling lies. We don't listen to the theories of a hurt mother. We go by evidence.
Sure.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Yep. So you'll have to do Renee's too because it
Oh,
says
you want me to
It's
keep
cut
going?
off too.
Yeah.
You want me to keep
Yeah.
going? Okay.
Yeah.
First thing, if my telling the truth makes me a nasty person, so be it. I'll wear the title with pride. You're calling me nasty because I'm telling the truth about Christian committing suicide. Stop being petty about the truth being told. Please make sure you remember to send my crown and sash to go along with the title you've graciously given me.
She misspelled dunce cap and ignorant flat sash.
Second thing, Christian's hands in science. Do your homework. You'll be surprised at what you learn. Back to this in a moment. You're believing and spreading lies from people who are intent on destroying the lives of innocent people. Ray hates Whitley because Christian chose Whitley over her. Christian loved Whitley more than anyone else, even though he broke up with her. Ray hates Dylan because she now realizes Christian could and did depend on and trust Dylan more than her, his own mother. No, he just knew Dylan would be awake. Christian and Dylan were, in fact, best friends. Best friends don't have to be in each other's daily life to maintain best friend status, and they won't check your pulse either. Males, like females, can go for months at a time without hearing from or seeing each other. As soon as they're reunited together, it's all as if no time has passed between them. It also didn't sit well with Ray, knowing Christian wanted Dylan to have his money over her, his own mother. Oh, my Lanta.
Please.
Do not even try to come at me with the pity story of Christian could have given Dylan the PIN number. Banks and credit unions have set limits on daily amounts, which can be withdrawn at ATMs. Christian wasn't stupid. He knew the PIN wouldn't work to withdraw all the funds out of his account. Ray hates Jet because after her mother died, Ray's father dated Jet's grandmother for 14 years. You don't think Ray knows that? Ray has 14 years of petty built up hate towards Mrs. Judy, and she's using Christian's death to lash out at one of the sweetest ladies there is. Miss Judy went out of her way to care about, love, and never come across as trying to replace Ray's mother. Ray's sister and brother have never had any issues with Mrs. Judy or the Millers. They all got along until Ray came up with this farce. Back to Christian's hand. The hand he used to pull the trigger with, because we were confused there. His index finger is still in the position of being bent from being on and pulling the trigger. I suggest you look at the autopsy photo proving this fact. Also, when you look at the autopsy photo of Christian's trigger hand and bent index finger he used to pull the trigger to commit suicide, have a closer look at Christian's hand. You will see the blood spatter on Christian's hand. Oh, it's the micro dots.
It's the micro droplets.
Yeah, they're micro dots.
droplets.
Please.
Oh my goodness. They're experts.
Like an
They
aerosol
wouldn't
can sprayed blood on his hands, sure.
There's no way to prove what it was because it was never tested. And what's that guy's name? Sam. He said that Sam, or the podcaster, was it Sam?
Yeah.
Sam. Yeah, Sam.
Yeah. So he said he had expert looks at it, but he wouldn't reveal who the experts were.
Yeah, so bullshit.
Yep, you said it. Okay, Renee. Tammy Shelton, I have told you I have looked at the photos.
You don't sound like Renee.
Okay, I won't sound like Renee either. And I apologize for my accents. It just happens. I can't help it. Reading comprehension, dear. Exactly. Go back and reread yet again. This time, read my comment about both hands being in the same position. I don't know where you are getting your information from, but the body does not freeze. As far as the rest of your yapping, it's the same things y'all keep spinning. It's all you have. I choose to stick to the facts, evidence, and science that proves your little story wrong. Let me go again.
I got the
Now
rest.
we're on Lexi, yeah.
Lexi Duran says, Tammy, quick question. Why do you have to study, research, and read everything you can if it's a suicide? Then we said, the only one afraid here is you. Christian was murdered. And then Angel said 5 hours ago, as an RN for 38 years and a hospice nurse, you don't really have a clue about these matters. Angel, are you still in the chat? I hope she's still in the chat because I want to know if, as a hospice nurse, she has seen many people pass. If she's seen anybody freeze.
Yeah, like what is she expecting his hands to be like this or something? I mean, you're dead. You're kind of dead weight, you know.
Well, wait a minute. They freeze. That means Christian was frozen in that same position.
Which would mean rigor. Which they deny. Like I'm legit think that they need a file cabinet with all of their lies so they can keep track because they contradict themselves constantly.
Does anybody want to come up and discuss all of this? It was a lot, right? Like, we cannot believe that she put out who that third caller was.
Oh God, I
was actually
loved that when I saw it.
Because Susan's 3 hours ahead of me, and I woke up to my phone just going bananas. And I was like, what? So I'm like trying to read through everything and see what was going on. And then I realized, oh, hell, she just told everybody who that third caller was.
Why do you suppose she put that out there?
She's stupid.
Because she's stupid.
She felt powerful.
She thought that it was going to be something great, and then she just stuck her foot in her mouth over and over and over and over again 48 times or something.
I can't imagine that they were pleased, and they probably told her to fix it. She didn't know how to fix it, and that's why she spun it back to Jet finding out through his grandmother, through his mother, hours later through Ray's dad. But we know that that's not even Jet's own story. His story has been that Chelsea told him. He never once in that interview with Stubbs does he mention that he heard it from his grandma or Jan. He doesn't say that. So why did she say that?
And also when she's talking about, oh, it doesn't matter anyways because Matt didn't answer the phone. Newsflash, who cares if Matt answered the phone? That has nothing to do with anything. 3 people, 3 different phones were calling Matt at the same time. There are no coincidences. Sorry. Doesn't happen.
I think
it doesn't matter if Matt ignored everything that day. He was forwarding every phone call he got to voicemail.
And let's go back to the 344 timeline, right? So nailed it, Mom of 6. Nailed it. She has nothing to do with this case. She doesn't know. She is not friends of anybody. And yet her profile reads Christian committed suicide. She just needs attention. The third caller, Samantha Smith, was Jet Miller. It was Jet Miller, and we can say that now because Tammy put it out there.
Can I just say that you guys knew that, but you didn't tell us. Like, we didn't, even your mods, we didn't know that. You guys, you do keep a lot of information close to your chest that you know, and we respect that. And so for her to out that, I mean, I didn't even know that. Obviously, I made the timeline, and I just put you said just put third caller, right? Or
yeah,
and I was
we
like,
didn't tell anybody.
You didn't tell anybody.
The only person we told was the person that matters. I mean, not that you guys don't matter. That's not what I meant.
I get that, but you weren't just spreading out the information is what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
I mean, I know you guys trust us with a lot, but it was like we didn't even know. You're serious about this case and doing it justice and not jeopardizing it either.
Exactly. That's the word I was looking for earlier, is that it wasn't that, like, of course we could be like, oh my God, we have this big information. We have the phone records. Like, look at this phone call. Look at who called Matt at 3:44. Like, we could have posted it everywhere and been like, breaking news. Look at us. We're big thing. Like, we're a big deal, right? But we didn't do that because we didn't want to jeopardize the case. We did not want to jeopardize the case.
And it's not that we're out for glory or anything like that. It has nothing to do with us. We're here for the case. We're here for Christian.
And that isn't necessarily a smoking gun. That's like not a confession, right?
No.
But it is a piece of the puzzle that fits in now. And you can't dispute that he called it 3:44. It's in factual call logs that cannot be disputed.
And it doesn't matter if Matt answered or not. That has no bearing on anything.
Like,
right.
We could have brought it to everybody and said, look what we have, neener. And we didn't, because it doesn't do anything for anybody except for give them a chance to come up with some bullcrap lie.
Mm-hmm.
And why would we want to do that? We don't want to do that. We want justice more than we care about the groups, more than we care about this YouTube channel, more than we care about anything. We just want Christian to have justice. I mean, look, put that thing up that I made. I just want to cry because I don't know, like, this case has hit us hard, and I just don't think it's fair what's happening. And some days I get really upset that maybe justice won't happen, but thanks to Tammy, now we can talk about it, and I just feel relieved that we can talk about it.
We're not right.
You can't. There's no coincidences in a homicide, and you can't change the fact that we've had their alibis, their stories, their statements for 7 years. And even Matt's own story was that he got off work and took a nap. Jet's story has always been that him and Zach were sleeping until around 8 o'clock at night.
Well,
'Cause they had
obviously
been-
he was calling somebody at 3:44.
Yeah.
I wish I please, Tammy, send me Jet's phone records. I would love to go through them. I really would. And
just
if it shows that he wasn't there anytime between 11:23 and 4:45, then it shows he wasn't there. But I don't know. There could be gaps. Who knows?
if he wasn't there, then show us.
Yeah. Don't tell
Show
us.
us. Why
'Cause I'm
haven't
not going to
you?
believe a word you say because we've already just discounted everything you said and all that crap you spewed.
I just don't understand. Like, maybe
Yeah.
that they don't have any reason to hold anything close to their chest, right? If they're innocent,
Yeah.
if Dylan and Whitley are innocent, if Jet is innocent, if Matt is innocent, they don't have any reason to hold anything close to their chest.
Right.
There's nothing you can't. When it goes that direction, you can't come up with a story like they could the other direction. So they don't have any reason to be secretive. Just show us. Like, yeah, Julie, you're right.
Absolutely.
Phones can be left at home. Phones can be left at home, and we know that burner phones are an option, right?
Yeah. I mean, Whitley had a burner. That's what she used to contact Matt.
But if you're
Vanilla
gonna leave
Ice,
it at
you're right.
home, put it on the Roomba.
If it's
And if there's, big gaps in phones where there's no activity, that phone could have very well be left somewhere and, the person who owns it be somewhere else. So it doesn't mean anything.
well, and Angelia, you're right. Sleep isn't a good alibi, and we were able to blow that alibi apart for Matt and at least Jet's one phone call to Matt at 3:44. You weren't sleeping. Why were you taking a nap and then taking a little break and calling your cousin? No, you weren't. And I'm sorry, he says he didn't know Christian. Why would he know before anybody else knew?
Right. And why would he care? Why would he be like, oh, I need to call Matt to talk about someone I don't even know?
Did
Makes
you
no
see
Tell
sense.
you why you
sisters?
need to call.
Sister Donka? Did you see her comment? You should put it up there. It's good.
Which one?
Sister
Yes,
long one?
Sister Donka. Yes, they did say that a while ago in one of their groups or on Reddit or something. They said that he had a cadaveric spasm. And you're exactly right. If he had a cadaveric spasm, everything that I've been able to research, his hand would have held onto the gun.
Mm-hmm.
It and his hands were both like Renee said in her comment back to Tammy, were both clenched. It wasn't just one hand; it was both of them clenched.
And they weren't
So-
clenched. They were
They were
relaxed.
They were just
relaxed.
So it doesn't explain. I mean, a cadaveric spasm doesn't explain what we're seeing in these autopsy photos. They're trying. See, again, they're trying to find things to make a story fit, and it's not fitting. I mean, are they more knowledgeable than Dr. Arden? I don't think so. If he thought that that was the case, he would have said so in his report.
I've also heard from the others another time where they like to harp on that Ray paid for these, and even the experts that the state uses, they get paid. Everybody gets paid. Everyone's doing a job. It doesn't matter where the money's coming from. Everyone gets paid. So the expert on the state side, they get paid. Private investigators, they get paid. Everyone gets paid.
And Arden gets paid before he looks at anything.
Exactly.
Just to avoid this type of thing of people saying, oh, well, he was paid for his opinion.
Well, and if they don't like it, they don't want to pay him.
Right. So he gets paid up front. So that whole argument, throw it out the window.
Well, and let's go back to the narrative that Bratu remarks about his conversation with Bilbo. They discuss that they can't afford to pay. So they would have paid if they could have afforded to pay. So it's not okay for them to. It's okay for them to pay, but it's not okay for Ray to pay, right?
Right.
And they give Ray permission to hire these and pay for these, what she paid for. They gave the go-ahead.
Well, it's because they didn't want to
Right
do it
back.
themselves. They didn't want the responsibility to find out that they're wrong.
But it didn't matter because ultimately they didn't like being told they were wrong.
Right. And they keep doubling down by not wanting to do anything about it.
And it's telling because some of these investigators have their moms in groups, and their moms are fighting for them, which is just weird. It's just weird to me.
Some of the investigators have their moms in groups.
Well, somebody has their mom in one of the groups, and she was saying stuff. I don't want to. It was an investigator for the state.
You'll have to tell me about that. I don't know about that.
Oh, I think you do. It was, I don't remember her name, but I know the investigator's name. I don't remember her mom's name.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do.
You know what
know
I'm talking
that.
about? Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Which, don't you think that's just weird?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Like,
for sure.
my kid did too do a good job. My
know.
kid did a good job. She was speaking on behalf of her daughter, her adult daughter.
Yeah.
And she happened to say they witnessed what they went through a lot. Like, she gave some stuff away, and it was like, what did you just say? It's like, you better be quiet.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. They, like with Tammy, they give things away, not realizing they're thinking they're doing something like, and then they give little tidbits of information away that really ruin things for them.
It's very telling.
Yeah. Big time.
Big time.
Well, not only is her mom in groups, but her girlfriend too.
Oh, I didn't know her girlfriend was.
Yeah.
Well, I suspected she had a girlfriend, but I mean, it was.
Does anybody else want to jump on panel? I just can't believe you guys aren't all freaking out about Jet being the third caller. I'm so disappointed. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
God, I remember when I saw it on Matt's records, I was like, Misty, look at this.
Let me answer your question. Hang on, sorry. Nobody else wants to come on?
Do we have the link to drop in there again? It was
For
the StreamYard.
Yeah, husbands offering to broker deals for interviews.
That whole, I don't know how they can get away with her having a home in Georgia and a home in Mississippi, and how they think it's, oh, no big deal.
I mean, she could have homes in two places, but it's all where she does her taxes.
Right. It's just, I mean, yeah, people have vacation homes, but her husband lives there full time. It's not a vacation home.
Right.
Isn't that called carpetbagging? I know.
Taking me back to, what, 6th grade history?
Sorry, one second. My AirPods are like not synced.
Oh, I hate it when mine does that.
Okay. Well, because they're almost dead.
Who's the fourth guy, Julie?
Oh, that was a lot for today,
Angela,
right?
we just heard about the third guy. Who's the fourth guy? Come on,
ZT.
Julie. Come on, panel. Julie, come on,
ZT.
panel.
That's who she's talking about.
Oh, Okay, I know who she's talking about.
Who is the fourth guy?
That's what we were
ZT.
just discussing.
We just had that
ZT.
conversation. Oh, maybe she didn't have
What?
her
Say it
earbuds.
again.
ZT.
Oh, yeah. Give us his phone records, too, since you say you have them.
Yeah, you got him. Hand him over. Gladly take a look at him for you.
If Tammy's listening,
We'd
she
like
can
to see
join
him.
us.
Yeah, Tammy, feel free to join us.
Yeah, come
Anybody
on.
can. We're nice.
Kind of.
Oh, come on.
Okay, if nobody else wants to come up.
Nobody?
He shares initials with a DA.
Mom of Six, are you talking about the Jet being the third caller?
Yeah, that's exactly why we held it in and didn't tell anybody, because it definitely is.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, of course, Susan and I were like, oh my gosh. And, our first instinct is to run and share it with our group, because that's what we do. We want to share with you guys. You guys are just as invested. ZT, okay. You guys are just as invested as we are. So, of course, we want to share things with you, and especially our mods that work so hard alongside of us, and the Andreacchios, and anybody else that we can scream it from the rooftops. Oh my gosh, there's new evidence. This is, maybe it's not huge in the grand scheme of things, but it's evidence, and evidence is evidence. And of course we wanted to share that. But we had to pump the brakes and say, nope, we can't do that. We have to give this to the Andreacchios for them to do what they will with it.
And if you had spread it, it just weakens it.
Right.
And you didn't. You've known for a long time, and you protected that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes you wonder, what is the other side? What are they sharing?
And there's other things that we're protecting too, and eventually they'll come out. And I don't know if we say it enough, but we appreciate you guys not pushing us to tell you guys things, or and there's things that you guys don't even know that we know, but you guys never ask us to blow things up, or you guys want justice just as bad as we do, and we appreciate everybody standing with us in this 2-year fight that we've been on. The Andreacchio's been on it for 7, and we're not going anywhere. I think we've proven that. So sit back and ignore us, or keep giving us stuff. We appreciate it. Can't thank you enough, Tammy.
When is the decision? Are they supposed to announce it August?
Not now.
September?
For what?
No. For whatever, the AG?
The AGO? I think well,
I don't think it matters. Well, I don't know if there's a date now, because it's back in that limbo spot.
Did they appeal? I don't know if they appealed again after the judge said, no, you have to do it.
I don't know either. I know that they had to appeal, but because it's a Supreme Court level, I think that it was explained that it
could take
the
whenever.
Supreme Court can take as long as they want.
Yeah.
So who has it?
The Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court does. They're deciding.
I think they're deciding whether or not the judge could tell the AGO to do that, that they have to investigate it, something like that.
So they're not investigating. They're determining if
they
can. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I don't I don't understand why they don't just do their job. I mean,
Nobody wants to.
just makes no sense.
Mom of six, when you say on HM, I know who that is. And also on his good friend that just so happened to OD while in the middle of releasing HM's journal entries.
What?
Do I know who that is? Maybe you need to email us or message us if you're in the group.
HM had a friend, and
That-
and that friend had his journal.
And OD'd in the middle of releasing them.
I think I
What?
vaguely know something about this.
Did he release any of them?
No, but I vaguely remember hearing something about this. I don't know from where.
Can you message one of us, please? And we will work on an episode on that because.
Or you can email also at info@sleuthsyndicate.com.
I think it's in our about section on YouTube.
I'll put it in here.
What?
Well,
See,
I've
we don't know
always
everything.
suspected there was something larger at play. We've always wondered that, because why would they go to such great lengths to bury a case? And what did that piss on a
dead kid's grave?
There you go.
Richie.
Why would they go to such great lengths? Oh, Richie.
Why was even Richie involved?
Message.
I mean,
Oh, he did release some on Facebook? Wait, you're saying that Hayes's journal entries have been released on Facebook and then that person died?
Are they still on Facebook?
yeah, I'd like to see that. I hope someone's got screenshots of that somewhere.
You got a name of his friend?
No, but she's going to email us, so
Nice.
We'll see what we can find out about all that.
I am intrigued now. Definitely not going to be able to sleep tonight.
I think I've heard something about this before.
And Carly, I've always wondered about Hayes' death. It's never sat right with me.
I do too, but I know that a lot of people that when they just come out of a rehab, they go back to taking the same amount of drugs that they were able to tolerate before, and that ends up making them OD.
Yeah.
But
how convenient.
Also, from what I understand, is he really was at a point where he was ready to make that change, and he had things going well for him. And, I don't know, maybe somebody did intentionally do it, but I can't say for sure. Yeah, I remember hearing something too. I just don't know from where. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was the guy. The guy was only in rehab supposedly for alcohol, then OD'd on something else after being sober a long time, and no one mentioned his death afterwards. It was weird.
That is weird. The Clintons.
Okay.
Whitley has a direct line to Bill Clinton. Oh.
I don't know, guys. I'll
So did
see.
he OD and die, or did he OD and live? Oh, it says death afterwards.
I found it on Facebook.
Oh.
Okay, I guess we'll get to the bottom of that, and then we'll update everybody with what we find next week. Next week's we're covering the MBI presentation that was shown to the grand jury. He's dead. Okay.
Oh, okay.
We will.
I found it. I sent it to you.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
But we'll still talk
We'll
about it
dig into
later.
this, and then we'll talk about the top of the episode next week, so we don't forget. So MBI's next week. Troy was his first name. Okay.
Yep. That's what I got too. Mom of 6.
We will. Does anybody else have any questions for tonight? We'll dig into this. We will dig into this and have everything ready for the beginning of next week on this.
Yeah.
And next
Now I'm
week's the
getting lots of
corruption.
messages about it. Yeah. Next week is the NBI presentation. And we'll throw in some corruption. I mean, this fits in, right?
Yep.
I had notes for next week anyways, or the corruption episode about my husband's eating all my dinner. I just looked over and it's just slowly shrinking.
I want to say today is National Ice Cream Day. Everyone go have some ice cream.
Ice cream for dinner. So I had notes to also check into how many cases Cassie and Bilbo have actually tried convictions and jail time. So I have to work on that. I got a week.
Should be list.
Yeah, a week to get me all the stuff.
Yes.
Make
I'll get
it
it to
a
you
little
Sunday.
less than a week.
I'll get it to you Sunday at 4:15.
Yeah.
Just kidding. You don't have to thank us, Angelia. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you too. You help us so much too. All of you guys do. I mean, we don't have huge numbers of followers, but like I've said from episode 1, if we change one person's mind, okay, let me repeat that, or let me rephrase that. We're not even trying to change people's mind, but if we get to one person enough that they start spreading the word and help get Christian justice, like, could you imagine if this fell into the right hands that was able to actually
do something?
MBI, or not MBI, the AGO do something? Can you imagine if just one person heard this and was like, no, this needs to be taken care of? Like, imagine somebody from that office watching our broadcast, or a family member or something, and then them being like, you guys need to look into this. Then we've done it. Like, we've done our job, right? That's all we're trying to do here.
And we're getting the facts out there as facts, not what the goon squad wants to edit, twist, and also they claim that we don't use the case file, and we're taking everything from the case file.
They also like to excuse behavior because of age, or they like to excuse behavior, period. Oh no, they were just teenagers. They like to qualify it. No.
Whitley was the only teenager.
Oh no, they were just on drugs.
Right.
Oh, okay then.
Their behavior now is because of this. They are, they're out getting 2 DUIs because of all of this. And they're going through drug court because of all of this. They're being forced into this lifestyle. Not that they were doing it before. No. They were saints before. And then February 27th, 2014, they become drug addicts.
Sure.
Okay, Jaden.
But she was doing Xanax on February 25th. So
she had an ankle monitor on.
And she, in text messages, says she loves drugs and wants to keep doing them.
And she's
well
always going to be a
before,
liar.
yeah, well before the 26th. So
You know what though? I will say it again. I think I've said this before. I'm not sure if I said it on the live, but I've said it. Whitley, out of all of them, is the smartest because she's
Yep.
keeping her mouth shut. She's nowhere.
Mhm.
She's not.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Like, I wish she would talk.
Right, but I mean, honestly, like,
I know.
she's the smartest out of all of them. She is staying out of. She's got her own demons over here that she's fighting, so maybe that's why. Like, maybe she can't be bothered with Christian's death, but she is.
Well, I think she's a horrible liar, and I think that's a big reason why she's staying quiet, because just
She
like,
can't talk.
for example, when she, and this is public record, when she got her DUI, you know, she was very upfront with the police officer on why she was doing the drugs that she was doing or had the drugs on her, because she was, what was it, coming down from fentanyl or whatever.
Yeah, I had
So
to
I
do
think
meth
that-
because I was on fentanyl.
Yeah, so I think that she has she can't lie on the spot, and so she's being quiet because if she's questioned on the spot, she's just like with Dylan in the 911 call that said no, he didn't say he was going to do this earlier, because they have a hard time lying on the spot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Carly, no. I mean, we can try. We can try. They don't want to talk. None of that side wants to talk to us. And from what I've heard, he is not of his right mind currently anyways. So I don't know how much we could get out of him. But we can definitely, I don't mind trying. If any of them want to come and talk to us, I mean, we've said it's an open invitation. Dylan, Chet, Matt, Whitley. I'm not interested in hearing from. I'll say personally for myself, I'm not interested in hearing from their parents. I don't want to hear. You've already said it all. Julie drug use is from what I've heard. It could be rumors, but I've heard he's pretty bad on. Actually, I know he is bad on drugs because somebody sent us a picture of him once outside of their car. But like I said, like if Dylan or Whitley or Jet or Matt or Zach or Burns or any of the players want to come on here and defend themselves or talk to us, we would, we're not going to be mean. We're not going to beat you up, but I'm not interested in hearing from your parents or your uncle.
Yeah, no.
Please, no.
If those people want to come up here and debate us, okay. But I don't want to hear any excuses. I'm not interested. They've shown us who they are over the last 2 years that we've been involved in all of this. All they can do is bash us, so not interested.
All right, ladies. Monk calls. So it's that time. We got to go solve a case.
Have a good night, Christy. Thanks for jumping
thank
on.
you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
I want to add one more thing before we pop off, and I don't like addressing drama or anything like that, so I'm not going to, but this is just, we had a comment that was left on our page, this, on our YouTube page, our channel, this after the last episode that accused us of being too chatty. Don't watch then. That's all I'll say. I think that we present and then we open the panel and then we discuss. If you want to watch the meat of what we have to say, then watch the beginning and don't watch where we open up and discuss everything. Don't attack us and don't be rude. Like, we're not being rude to anybody. Okay, I was a little mean to Tammy this week, but don't watch them. I don't care if you think we're chatty. We are talking to the people in the chat.
And it's not like we're off. It's not like we're off topic either. I mean,
no, we're not talking about the Olympics. Although I am an Olympic hopeful,
I mean, like, are we supposed to read the documents and then go, okay, bye? You know,
I
and
guess.
not allow
I
for
guess that's what they
questions?
want. But we do all that in the beginning, so just sign off
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah. Or don't watch at all. I mean, it's not going to hurt
Yeah.
our feelings.
Right. Anyways, I hope you guys are liking this new hour. I mean, we still stated the same numbers for the chat. Okay. It's okay.
It's
It's
oh,
not why we're here.
we did
We're
do
not trying
last
to be-
week too, but a little bit later, right?
Yeah. We're not trying to be YouTube famous. We're just trying to get Christian justice. And eventually our channel is going, once Christian has justice, our channel is going to focus on other cases. And maybe we will start, when we have a little more free time, start throwing in other cases on a different day. But right now our focus is on Christian. Like we've built a group for Cash Gernon. And unfortunately it's just sitting because, well, there's not much to that case anymore. They found the killer right away, and we just don't, we're here. Like, this is our focus.
Yeah, and we're going to be working on Katie
Yes.
Majors. So
Katie Majors is our next focus.
our next big target to get help for.
And we have another one that I sent Susan like 3 weeks ago. Her name was Denise Johnson, and she was killed in the 90s. And her family still doesn't have justice. And it's quite obvious who it is that did it, but the killers haven't been brought to justice. So hopefully we can focus on that one a little bit too.
Yeah, I still have to look at that.
Yeah. So
I got carried away on that stalker podcast.
What episode are you on?
I'm on episode 3.
Okay, so if you guys aren't aware, like Unraveled, if you don't know who Billy Jensen is and Alexis Linkletter does a lot of like on screen like investigative discovery kind of stuff. And Billy Jensen is the one that wrote the book for what's his name? Not the Night Stalker, the Golden State Killer. He helped write the book, and he also has a podcast with Paul Holes called The Murder Squad. But he also has Billy has another podcast with Alexis Linkletter and Jack Vanek from Girl Squad. And then Alexis and Billy did a one-off called Unraveled, and their first season focused on
The Long Island
serial killer. And then the second season that they just are releasing like the last, well, actually I'm finished. So 6 parts was about a stalker. Like nobody died, but whoa.
This guy has like over 50 victims.
Yeah.
That he stalked for decades.
And he's not even in jail right now.
I didn't know that part.
Insane. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Spoiler alert. But I mean, you could have got that if you Googled him, but it is insane.
We don't know anything about what we told the neighbors.
I wish we knew, but
that was never. It never came out. That was all that was said is what you've heard. That there was supposedly an overheard conversation.
So what you know is what we know, and we're not hiding anything. We don't know anything about
we don't know. I would love to know.
Yeah. Julie, yes. Kristen Smart's case is like very near and dear to my heart. She actually went missing on the day that my daughter was born. And California is not too far from me, so.
And then there's I can't think of his name right now. The little boy with the stepmom. Old case, your area.
Oh, Chiron.
Chiron.
Yeah, we should do Chiron.
I think we should.
I know so much about that one too. Julie, what? I just got chills. You went to like high school or college with Kristen Smart?
We're both anxiously waiting for her.
Say more. Okay, maybe we could talk about it later. my mind is blown right now. My best friend is from like the Modesto area, and actually 2 of my best friends are from the Modesto area, and so they knew all about the case. Susan's from around there. Oh my gosh, was she your friend?
Wow.
She older, younger, same age? Okay, now I'm like, I need to go eat. No, I knew like I listened to the whole In Your Backyard podcast, and I knew right. I mean, everybody always knew it was Paul Flores, but like that sealed it for me. Geez, Julie. Now
Maybe we should do like one episode a month where we just talk about random cases
Yeah.
or something.
I also I wanted to try to get Christian's case on the First Degree, which is Billy, Alexis, and Jack Vanek's other podcast, where they take cases and they interview people that are like one degree away from the person. So like a family member, a neighbor, a friend, a coworker, and that person like helps them tell the story. Obviously I'm not 1 degree away, but I thought that like if I could just get it to them. I also sent the information to Billy and Paul Holes, but I mean they're pretty busy.
Yeah.
Oh, I had never heard anybody say anything bad about Kristen Smart ever, like ever. And actually, how old was she when she vanished?
She was in college, wasn't she?
19. So we were the exact same age, I think.
Wow. Well, we'll have to do an episode where you come on and talk about.
Yes, Julie, get your stuff together. We'll do an episode.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're at 3 hours. A little chatty.
Yeah, a little chatty.
A little fatty. I'm going to go eat my dinner that my husband keeps eating. Yeah, so we were exact same age. It's crazy. Nobody would have abducted me at 19. I was fat and pregnant. Oh, yeah, I have seen stuff like that. That's just stupid. That's so stupid. Like, even if she dressed, however, I mean, 1996, like, what was she wearing? Jinko jeans and a cutoff shirt? Like, come on. Nobody deserves to be kidnapped and killed.
LA Gear shoes.
Yeah. Me too, Julie. Okie dokie. I'm starving, so.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking with us, and sorry about the technical difficulties.
Julie, message me everything you know about Kristen. Like, seriously, we'll do an episode. We'll do Kristen first. Do a one-off. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for always being here and not trolling our comments and being so nice. Stretchy bike type shorts. I wear those now. Thanks for being here, Amber. I know that you're like hours in the future, so. Night, everybody. See you later.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.